on that template because the template went to a different podcast where it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Brendan, thanks for being here.
Well, I gotta go.
For those who are
What happened?
tuning in, we just did 8 minutes of the podcast, and it was good. It was going places.
It was great.
And now we're starting
You'll
over.
never know. You'll never know.
It happens.
Yeah, it does.
We it's going to be hard to redo the last 8 minutes, but we could talk about how we first met.
Yeah.
And how you're a comic, and we were just talking about the comedy shows we would do here.
Yeah.
Man, I'm so upset I messed that up. I messed it up. My fault.
Can we just say that you want to do the comedy shows again and just move on from there?
Long story short, we're going to do more comedy shows.
Yeah.
Because we used to do them here. We did a bunch. They were great. They were so much fun. They were unique. You were on the comic. The comic was on you.
Yeah.
The sound was cool. The lighting was cool. The environment, low ceilings.
You always had
narrow.
footage, too.
Footage,
photo document. It was awesome.
Yeah, recorded
The whole thing.
everything because it was set up so we could have good audio. And it was, like I was saying, it was a lot of work to move the drum kit and the gear and the mics and the cameras. But I always enjoyed doing it. Like, I strangely enjoy, like, just annoyingly hard tasks.
I mean, if we brought back the comedy show, I would bring in producers who would probably we would all do all that for you. You wouldn't have to do anything.
The thing is, though, it's so meticulous because that basement there's too much stuff in that basement. There's
a lot.
So it's like, it's so particular.
Well, you know what's cool about it? First of all, that basement is jam-packed full feeling, and like it's like a quilt blanket without anybody in there because of all this art and stuff and guitars. And then so the walls are just completely covered. And then you fill the whole basement up with 60 to 70 people and then 10 people on the stairs. And it's just like as a performer in that way, you're just so like any form of like approval feels like, I don't know, like just getting hugged by everybody that didn't hug you that was supposed to.
Like laughter and applause?
Yeah, any kind of, like, it's just like, it's so like overwhelming.
Hits you in the chest,
yeah.
The gut. Yeah, that's what I like about the shows down there. Have you been to one of the shows down there when we have bands play?
Yes. A couple,
it's the same
I think
thing.
2.
Okay. Same concept.
I think it was the lever and the cell phones. I know I've seen here.
Oh, yeah. That, man, they played, that was a while ago. Probably the same year.
5 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Man, it's the same thing because we set up some pretty big speakers, the same speakers we use at DZ Fest, but it's like in the basement. And it's nice because we have a lot of control.
I can give you a compliment again and embarrass you for the second time. For those of you listening that don't get their pre-recorded, I embarrassed Ben by giving him a compliment. Not even giving you a compliment. He sensed I was going to give you a compliment, and now you're turning red again. But you're the most organized, like, has anybody ever told you that you could be like the best project coordinator ever? Like, how do you have such a sense of like one, and you're humble about everything that you do, which is the rarity trait that is like almost mind blowing, where it's like you're just so like the sense of like respect that you have for everybody you talk to, it has to be a two-way street, and it's such a rare interaction meeting you. It's just like, is this guy like really that genuine? And there's no way. And then the more you hang out, it's just like, no, he's just a great guy. And I remember before Louis got canceled, like, this is where how your brain thinks. You're like, how much do you think it would be to get Louis C.K. here on DZ? I mean, we got hotels over there. We could pay for the hotel. And then, like, you actually did the numbers in your head, thinking of how it's like, I mean, the biggest hurdle is trying to find his email. Like, and like, you just got into comedy, basically, and running comedy shows. It's been 3 shows, and you're going, let's get Louis.
Listen, I don't know what's wrong.
No, it's not. It's great. It's fascinating. It's motivated. It's like you have a spark inside you that is infectious.
Thank you. I think people are just people, and we overcomplicate it by giving awards and dollar signs and high-rise apartments and Bentleys and Lamborghinis. We complicate it, and we're just people. and
Right.
we're all going to die, and we were all born,
Right.
and everything in between doesn't matter. But
Right.
us like coexisting and like getting along and being happy and laughing, comedy,
Right.
expression through music, through art.
Can I have your Bentley, your Karma
Yeah,
Bentley that you're
yeah,
going to get? You
yeah.
could just give it to me.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't
thanks.
even want to bet.
Well, I do. In fact, hey, universe, I want 3 of them. All slightly different shades of blue.
Well, thank you for your kind words, and now I have to embarrass you.
Okay.
You are a phenomenal comic
Thank you.
and artist. You made this artwork.
I did.
You've made a lot of artwork. I have your artwork, which is 6 separate pieces in one, completes itself, hanging in the living space. I love it. I stare at it all the time, and I literally go, "This is amazing." My friends are annoyed because they're just like, "Yeah, you keep saying that." I'm like, "Because it is."
Thanks. What's funny is like you finished it and hung it and sent me a text, and I was like, "Did I make that?" Because it's like 4 years ago.
Well, thank you for giving to me that. I mean, that type of stuff. When like if you made that and framed it and put it in a gallery, you could sell stuff like that for thousands of dollars. You really could. How I know that is I look at that type of artwork, and I
Yeah.
went to school with people who made that type of artwork and sold it for that much. Like it's a real industry. It's a thing, and you just
is.
gave it to me. So thank you
You're
for sharing
welcome.
your artwork. And it's going to be there forever. And my favorite thing about the artwork that friends, artists, random people have donated or given to me is it has zero value, and I'm never going to sell it.
Right.
And it's just going to hang on these walls forever. And if I go somewhere, it's going to come with.
0 value.
I mean, zero, like sentiment. It's
Right.
all sentimental to me.
Right.
It means way more as the gift of sharing, giving, and kind of just giving it a space to shine and like have a home. And also, a side note, lots of people will always see it, and that like if you want to talk about financial things, like if you were to do artwork and sell it, you would have a lot of people looking at it, and you can get people to reach out to you like, "Oh, I saw your artwork hanging on the wall at Desi Records when I went to record."
Yeah.
And that's another thing like to do, promote artists, like what we do at the fest. You know,
Yeah.
when you sold
guys
your
do a
artwork.
great job with that. DZ Fest. Like when I explain, when like people, they're like, "Where's it at?" I'm like, "My friend's backyard," and they're like, "And it's a fest." And I'm like, "Mm-hmm." I know you don't believe me, and it's because you can't do it, but they can. They count the people and everything. You got to have a wristband. It's a different color if you're not 21, and it's in a backyard.
You have no idea how many wristbands I have around the house. I just find them in closets and drawers. I'm like, Jesus, DZ Fest 2015, 14, 12, this, what
The
am
poster collection is awesome too for it.
I have so much stuff. Just years of buying things for DZ Fest. My whole house is just DZ Fest.
Yeah.
It's cool, though. I mean, I don't know. I'm glad I get to live in something that other people get to live through and live in and be a part of, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, I definitely facilitate it, but it's all the people that make it. It's like someone like you who says they'll make the backdrop, you know, and other artists who made the front covers of it and the backdrops and the art tent. Like I build and provide the table and art tent, but the 40 artists fill it up,
Right.
you know, and I build and provide the gear and the stages, but the 40 bands perform and play it, and they bring the people.
Yeah.
And like it's literally teamwork. I mean, DIY it's a funny, you know, term, but it's really like do it together. You can't really do these types of things alone. It's just not possible. I could only do so much alone.
Right. And it's like the delegation that goes on with DZ, that's where other DIY shows I think fail.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Is
I've thought
finding
about that.
how to delegate, and it's like, you know,
it's what
that's
it
why
is
I nominated
close
you for
friends.
best project coordinator in the Midwest. That's
You
I wrote
know?
it in when we were supposed to vote for Biden or whatever.
We were supposed
I
to
was
vote for
like,
somebody.
Ben should be the best project coordinator, and they sent it in.
Man, I love doing it, but I would never want to do that for like a company, like a corporate company. You know, I like the fact that I'm just in my backyard, like, you know, hitting my
Right.
finger with a hammer and just building stuff and creating stuff and digging ditches for the cables. And
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just fun because you don't get to do that type of stuff anywhere, really. And with the
Not for
type of
yourself
people.
and for your friends and your community.
Yeah.
Typically not. You know what I mean?
No.
That kind of community spirit usually comes after like a hurricane.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, well, we
And
suffer
you guys-
together, yeah.
And you guys are just, we just want music.
We just,
And you guys all come together.
I just want a place for people to feel themselves, because this world tends to paint a narrative where a lot of people can't feel themselves. Even people who think they're feeling themselves, at the end of the day, they're just like, well, I don't really like what I do. I don't like my job, or I'm mad at my husband, my wife. I don't like the house I live in. They're still not being who they are.
Right.
And I've always felt okay with who I am, and I wanted to grow that and give people a place to do the same. And with like a shared camaraderie, like no strings attached, like I'll help you, help me, we'll do this together. Something good could come out of it. Many hands equals light work. I say it all the time. It's kind of corny, but it's so true. Like you're saying, when there's a disaster, everyone comes together and they bring the sandbags and they help and they pump out the water, and it works.
Yeah.
It works. You know, like, and it's sad to see the way that the nation is now, like, just strangely and utterly divided.
They are.
And it's not,
Yeah.
that doesn't work. I'm not sure if you haven't read a history book before or just talk to humans, but like, it doesn't work to do that. It doesn't work to berate people. It doesn't work to point fingers and get mad at people, maybe because they just live a different life or are misunderstood or have a lack of resources or lack of education. You know, and it's sad. And that's what I love about like comedy, what we were talking about before. It brings you together. It makes you laugh. Like when you're laughing in a room and it's contagious, you're not thinking about your bill that you might have missed, or you're not thinking about work tomorrow, or you're not thinking about how someone broke your heart. You're just in that moment, just laughing. Your stomach hurts from laughing. You're crying. Every time I've gone to a comedy show, I always cry, like of laughter.
Yeah. That's
know, and
awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I love comedy. It's something I'll always appreciate and love, because
that laughter, there's different ways to think of it, but it's like, for me, it's like, how do you find the surprise at how relatable that sentence was? You know what I mean? How, like, why did that like, sometimes why is it even funny? You know what I mean? It's just, it catches you off guard, but you get it without, it's like, you have to, it's almost like where it's like, you just got to be human right here in this moment. Otherwise you're not going to laugh, or you're never going to get it again. You know what I mean? It feels so like a glimpse or a break from time, you know? And that's the art of it, I think. You know, there's different styles.
there is different styles. You mentioned earlier, this might sound like a goofy question, but I've always been curious about it, and who better than to ask a comic? What's the difference between, like you were saying, like club comedy and alt comedy or theater comedy? And
I think, well, I'll start by saying this. With any kind of label and stuff like that, it always turns into a weird gray,
Yeah,
and it
you're
loses
right.
itself, and it's just like, well, what is art? For some people, alt comedy is having a body positive show in an area where that's not really talked about.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
having a all like queer lineup, or people that would identify as something besides is cisgender, right? Is like
yeah. So
me.
it's LGBTQ.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
yeah. I'm really bad with the terms.
At least you're trying.
I am trying.
That's fine.
I've been trying for about like a year to really be on it, because I'm friends with a lot of people that are in that community, or identify as like they them and stuff like that. And it's I think as long as like you're trying, is one, you're gonna get better at it.
Yeah.
Anyway, and
Yeah.
then it becomes second nature.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah.
It takes time. I mean, you grew up in this area, and that wasn't a thing when we were kids.
Right.
So you have to rewire how you understand pronouns and how you identify and how you understand how other people identify. There's
Right.
no shame in it if you're trying and you're aware of that, and you are. So don't worry about it. Don't sweat
Yeah.
it.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I mean, it's a big deal, but it's not a big deal if you're trying and trying to understand it and figure it out and respecting it, you know? But it is a big deal in the grand scheme of things of people who are just like sweeping it on the rug and saying like, no, you know,
Right.
that's where it's a problem.
Yeah, where there's no effort, almost, or
Yeah.
actually, it seems it's like it's a problem when it's like there's an effort to ignore it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like it's like where it's just like, you want to be okay. Do I have to remember that? It'd be nice if you remembered it. It would show politeness, but you're not the worst one. If you're like, no, you're this to me, and that's it. It's like, then that seems to be the. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I do know what you're saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes I worry that I have a thought that I want to convey, and it's just like, am I a bigot right now? I have no idea.
You're not. You're good. You're good.
Okay.
Trust me, you're fine.
All right.
Fun segue. Let's talk about this painting
Okay.
that you made.
Thanks.
You are a painter. You've been
Yes.
painting. How long you been painting for?
My grandma got me into painting, so since I was a kid.
Oh shoot! Really?
Yeah. I love telling the story. For fun, what I used to do as a kid was I learned cursive really early, and I would practice my signature, and I would take it to my grandma, and she would just, like, all over the page, and she would just circle, like, 3 of them per page and go, these are the best ones, do it better.
She was a painter.
Yeah, she was a watercolor and China painter.
Wow, my grandma was as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a lot of those paintings in the basement are from her.
Oh, okay.
She was great, so we
Yeah.
have that in common.
I
But I
didn't know
never
that.
picked it up. I wanted to, but I never did. I went other places. But so she would paint a lot. Do you have any of her work?
Oh, yeah. I have, like, a lot of, like, little paintings of hers that are literally, like, the size of this button.
Oh wow,
And I think it's the coolest thing
that is cool.
to hide it wherever, you know what I mean? And she's getting older now.
Oh, she's still alive.
Yeah,
That's
but
cool.
she's we're starting to see the decline. So
Does she still paint?
no, she hasn't painted in probably 10 years. But she's got so much stuff that I have a lot of it, and it's pretty nice. I like it.
Yeah, that's
She's got a thing for little houses. So if you look at a lot of my work, I paint a lot of little houses.
I have noticed that. There's one right there.
Yeah.
And the work in the front or back room has little houses and
It's-
stuff.
yeah,
It's got a
it's-
lot of stuff going on in that.
Yeah, I think I overcomplicated my grandma's paintings. Is what happened.
Where does that come from in your head? That inspiration for the style of, like, the small worlds within expanding worlds and contracting worlds, and it goes places. It's a
So-
lot of information.
Thank you for asking. That's a great question. But the answer is because it started because I chose my spirit animal to be a snail because I love snails.
Yeah, the snail in the back behind the drum kit in the basement that you
I
made.
love snails because to me, when I look at a snail, I'm just like, it's like a little alien in a mobile home. And it's like wherever it is home. It can't leave. It can't not be home. Wherever it goes.
I never thought about
That's
that.
what it's like, on a leaf in the middle of the road, moving in motion, about to die. Like it's always home.
Yeah. That's
So it's like that's why I stick a little house wherever I want.
So you're always home.
So I'm always home.
Do you feel at home in your art then?
Yes.
Okay.
And presently, if I'm present in time, then I'm home. It doesn't matter. So it's like,
That's interesting. I like
and
that.
I try and speak with that in mind, which is why I have. Do you know about that?
I do. I remember
the
you showing
snail
me that.
tattoo.
How long is that? How long will that last for?
I don't know. They told me it was supposed to last 2 years, and it's like 8 years ago.
They just told you that so you'd do it.
Yeah, I don't know, 2 years.
It won't be there long. You'll be good. I don't know why the guy sounds like this, but so want to tell us about this painting? Inspiration, ideas, concepts, feelings.
It was kind of like it was kind of a practice piece. Like I was just kind of trying to like practice cliffs, really. And it's not really one of those paintings that I've made that has like a lot of personal story behind it. But people really like it, and I think it's because of like the two styles of mountain and the house, and it's obviously a lot of forest, and then just the weird continuum that goes on. And that's really it. It's just supposed to, it's just like for whatever limited form of infinity it is. It just is. It's one of those that where I don't want it really to have meaning. I just want it to be is. So,
Are you you do a lot of like kind of continuum and like trajectory storytelling in your painting where things kind of go places they don't have a beginning and an end.
yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I'm
Thank
a
you.
fan of doing that myself with the music I make.
I never really got to like indulge in like a lot of your music, and
Most people have it.
That's a criticism.
fault of my own.
This is a criticism. I complimented you. Now I got to criticize you. I would like to hear more of your sound art.
Okay, I'll
You got to pull it. I've seen a little bit, and it's very good.
thanks.
But it's like you always like it's like you almost hide that you're even doing it. You're like, don't look at me. Don't look at me. I'm only shredding.
It's I don't know. It's the only thing that and poetry and all the songs that I've written are all poems.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that I have like that's to myself. Like DZ Records, DZ Fest, this podcast, this house that I share with roommates, the parties, the events, everything is me sharing with everyone. And that's the only thing that's me. So if you
totally
find
get it.
you find it. But if you don't, that's life.
Yeah.
And I like that there's no money attached to it. It's not for sale. It doesn't have there's no PR or management or company behind it. It's just, it exists. If you find it on the ether, go to Bandcamp, you'll find it.
Yeah.
Wilshire, Afterglows, mostly Wilshire is like
was
the main thing I started many
I
years
think
ago.
actually, you know how I think your name got brought up to me for the first time? Esta Vivo.
Yeah, Ryan.
Yeah.
Ryan
I
McMahon,
think that was a great project.
Oh, I love it. I got to play with him for a couple years.
Right.
And that was great.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I was like, for a minute there, you were just the guy in Esta Vivo to me.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
I know Ryan was, he's a great guy, great musician, writes great music.
Yeah.
And I just loved playing his music because it's so, like the music, Hasta
Yeah.
Viva, it is alive
Yeah.
in Spanish, you know? And I play in a bunch of bands, and I really love playing people's music, and I like playing any kind of music. But when I play music, like the styles I enjoy, like jazz, blues, classical, rock, indie rock, folk, surf, all that, I don't play like any of it. I played this like weird,
Yeah.
like 17-minute obscure stuff and made up tunings. I really like making up tunings so I could kind of play every fret and play every string and have a lot of overtones and things resonate that you can't normally get. Just because I got really, I don't know, I just kind of got really tired of the way things felt standard and felt like they were confined to certain rules in music, and I wanted to just kind of be free of it. And that's exactly why I still don't like promote it or talk about it. Most people don't even know about it. I'd say probably less than 100 people on this planet
Get
have
outta
ever.
here.
Oh yeah,
That's crazy.
maybe less than that. I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah, it's fun though. I want to bring that project back. That's like that's something I want to do forever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah, it's fun. I don't know where we are.
I don't know where we are either.
Let's talk about you though. This is not about me.
All right.
So you've been painting watercolor,
I focus in watercolor because that's what my grandma did. So
and you've been doing it since 9, 10, 8, 7,
I don't know.
long time,
Long-
20 something
long
years.
time.
You're what, a year younger than me? 2 years?
How old are you?
I'm 31.
I'm 30.
1 year.
1 year.
Math.
Wow.
Welcome to your 30s. Isn't that wild?
Yeah, it is kind of weird, and I gotta say that since high school, I've said that I'm like, I'll either peak at 35 or I'll be dead.
Peak. What do you mean by peak?
I'm gonna be the most handsome, the most happy. My life starts going slightly downhill, that natural older at 35.
Huh.
I've decided my own trajectory.
Still? So you got 5 years
I
left?
have 5 years left of my prime.
Why that? That's an arbitrary number.
It just feels like it.
Okay.
I just threw it out there.
That's so weird.
I know. I would like
I wonder if other people think that about themselves.
if they've chosen their best year of their life.
Yeah, or if they just chosen like this weird like mountain and then like
Like
you
if
know?
like when you think about like where is this like when are you gonna be your prime? What age were you, or do you think you're gonna be, or is it now
Well, prime relative to what?
to your standard of the best?
Oh, like
The
when
best
I'm like
version of you.
98.
Yeah?
When I have the wisdom. Yeah, I want the
Okay.
wisdom.
Right.
Everything else doesn't matter. Like all that, because your physique falls apart. Your hair falls out. Your
Yeah.
hair turns gray. You die. I'm already dying. My brain frontal
Right.
cortex developed at 25 at least. And I'm dying. Like I went through puberty. Like I'm already. I don't see it as down though. I see it as I'm just dying.
Right.
But the wisdom. As long as I don't get dementia or Alzheimer's, which I don't think I will.
Okay.
I just have this feeling.
Yeah.
And I think when you're old, when you're really old is your peak.
Okay.
Yeah, because you have. It's why old people, as long as they're not sad.
This is an atypical answer, by the way. Most people that go definitely 90s. 90s is going to be my prime.
Yeah,
It's like
that's a typical answer you hear.
no. I'm saying I've never heard that. People are usually like 25 when I could still get a beach bod in 3 months or
No,
something.
no. So
you
none
know
of
what
that
I mean?
stuff matters.
Right.
It fades.
Right.
It's having. At the end of the day, your reality in your world is really only what's in here. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can close your eyes, and you could be in a bed, and you could still be here. You could still be somewhere in there. That's why the saddest thing to me is when people's minds go.
Yeah.
You could tell it's like the worst way to go. But I think it's if you take care of your mind and you know, like I refuse to use calculators, so I could just force myself to think.
Yeah.
Because I like want to be sharp and I want to keep what's in here, you know.
Yeah.
And I think it's then. I mean, if you're talking about physique, yeah, it's probably late 20s.
I'm
early
saying
30s,
like
you know?
all of it, like joint pain.
I mean, you could be
bothering you.
smart about it. It's gonna happen. I don't know. I mean, if you're talking that, probably late 20s, early 30s, physical. You know, but
Just whatever's the best, but calculating all factors of your life.
all factors, probably. I mean, late 40s.
Late 40s? Okay.
If I had to go that route, but if I'm going like my pure prime, it's
Well,
gonna
it
be
is okay.
old.
Yeah.
Because I want to sit there and rock on a chair, drinking some scotch, and just being like, "Yep, I know that already."
Just drinking scotch, telling your grandkids, I used to be an Esta Vivo. They're like, what's that? And you're like, it's Spanish.
It's alive, kids. Oh man, I can't wait to tell my grandkids some crazy stories. It's gonna be fun. They're not gonna believe any of it.
You have had to meet probably like out of everybody I know, where it's like I think you've probably met more people in your lifetime than anybody else I know. I don't know anybody else who's probably ran into as many people, had as many different
lot of folks.
conversations, and
Well, that's why I wanted to do this.
Yeah.
Like the main thing was it's not about promotion or ego or the numbers or money. It's like, man, I've been meeting a lot of people in Access for my whole life because of the uniqueness of this house and my family. My family was like an open door policy when I was a kid. So
yeah.
like we had missionaries staying here a lot from around the world.
Oh,
And we had a big family, a lot of family. Like people were always here. This was the epicenter. Family parties, sleepovers. When there's a birthday party, we had it here. Like everything was here. So it was always around people, meeting people. And then when I built the DZ in the back, people in high school, 15 years old, then all the kids started coming here to hang out. Big yard. My parents were cool with it.
Yeah.
They trusted me. So then I was meeting a lot of people that way. And then that grew. And then when I turned that into this house, DZ Records, DZ Fest, met way more people. I've been doing that for 10 years. And then we did the Friends of Music podcast for 8 years, my cousin Matt and
I remember that.
So between that, the comedy shows, the intimate evenings, the video sessions, recording records, DZ Fest, and everything else, and then going to college and meeting people from the world, going to college downtown. And, you know, it's like you meet fascinating people, and I like people a lot.
And it's like, I just kind of realized, it's like you had a weird indulgence in the art world where it's both highbrow and lowbrow then. So you're like right in the middle and you get to hear both of them and you get to be critical of both of them from your own angle.
Highbrow is an understatement.
What do you mean?
I mean, the Art Institute of Chicago.
Okay. Yeah.
It's the highest of the brows you could ever be.
Do you work there?
No, just going to school there.
Oh, you went to
You
school
didn't-
there?
I went to school there, yeah.
At the Art Institute.
Yeah, that's
I
where
did not know
that's
that.
where I got my master's, yeah. So that was an experience. I loved it.
That's a super highbrow statement.
It was wild.
That's awesome.
It was wild. I definitely felt out of place. That's for sure.
I'm sure, because like you kind of have, you're like
Well,
coming in there
I
with
was
this
just throwing
kind of,
boxes at UPS, like trying to like get by in a blue collar lifestyle. Then I go to the
Right.
Art Institute. You know, it was
Right.
I felt out of place for sure.
I'm sure.
but I loved it.
Blue collar is weird to be like enjoying like minimalism. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like putting up drywall and it's like, do you guys know about Harmonious Bach? Anybody? And everyone's like, is that a rapper? It's like, no. Just some guy from the 16th century.
Well, that's okay. So enough about me. We talk way too much about me. You are in that position. You're actually doing like what people would consider traditional blue collar work, but you're an artist. You're a creative person. So what's going on in your head when you're?
I'm a lowbrow artist, though. I'm not fine art.
I'm not fine art.
Okay.
Am I?
I don't know.
I make just weird sounds. I don't know if that's fine art or not, and I don't tell anybody about it. I don't know how fine that is.
I guess so.
Man, that's funny. Yeah, I know what you mean though. It's the art world is interesting. I can't understand it.
I do have to say, I feel very awkward with my blue collar background in terms of like my work, because like now, especially today, I almost feel uncomfortable bringing this up, but I think it's it's like a reality that I'm dealing with, kind of, or trying to comprehend. It's like my Jewish friend, who's also a comic. Her name's Ariel. She's actually my best friend. I think as a joke, she's like, how many Nazis did you used to work with, or stuff like that? And it's just like, it's true. I've worked next to Nazis, or like people that would probably be a Nazi. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or identify. And it was just like, and she'd be like, how, like, as a joke, she'd be like, how'd you get along with them? Did they like you? And I'm like, I mean, technically they did like me. And then and now she's making fun of me. She's like, Nazis like you. And I'm like, I don't know what to do with that. I don't know. Dude, that was years ago.
How do you know that they were? Did they talk about it like that?
Yeah. One guy did. One guy had the swastika tattoo and had it removed or whatever, and heard that whole backstory. And it's like, I'm just working. You know what I mean? I'm just like, I have to just take some measurements, and it's almost like we're just like, oh, this is Daryl. Everything's normal. This is Tom. This is Chris. He's a neo-Nazi. Just don't ask his opinion on stuff. And then, like, you know what I mean? It was like, it was just like you just ignore it and you keep going. But now it's like, it was always this like weird silent thing that you just like knew one, or I did at least. And
I don't think I know any, but
right, you're not supposed to.
you're not supposed.
You're not
Sometimes
supposed
you
to.
don't know if you do, because a lot of people won't talk about it. So like, how would you know sometimes if they're not going to go around with a sign sometimes on their forehead saying like, some people will.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Trying to blend in, you wouldn't know.
That's the thing. It was like this weird thing where it's just they're there and they get along with everybody. You know what I mean? Because there was like, it's like where like, it's almost like where it's just like, I'm looking back and it like, was I supposed to take like corrective course action as like a citizen of the world and be like, and like ask them questions or try and be like, why not just like everybody? You know what I mean? And it's like,
You didn't do that?
no, I didn't do that.
I probably would have gotten in trouble because I would have done it.
Yeah. So I make it 17 an hour or something. I'm not going to do that.
Oh, man. I know there's a few people I know who are very creative, clearly artists at heart and in their mind and soul, but they do like your typical, construction work.
Yeah, but like for some people, I feel like it was almost like a gang. So it's like the same thing happened with other gang members from Chicago. It was like you would be polite and be like, "Can you not do the gang thing while we're here in this building, please?" And it's like, yeah. It was like then that came up too, like with all of them. And it was just so. Because I used to be running like projects that had like 150 temp workers in an 8-hour span come in, all different walks of life. You don't even know where they came from, so you had to analyze quick who was who, and try and I don't know if I could do it today.
You get some rough guys in that type of field too.
Of course, yeah,
yeah.
I'm sure everywhere. I mean, I know at a company I used to work at, one of the jobs had a straight up riot breakout, and they were whipping hammers at windows on a project we're supposed to be fixing. And they're whipping hammers at the windows of the client, at their trucks, taking hammers and trying to beat each other with it because something happened between a supervisor saying it with the wrong tone of voice to put on a vest.
Oh wow!
A safety vest. It was like.
And someone just lost it?
It was like, hey, put on your vest. And it was, don't talk to me that way. It was like, I said, put on your vest. And then.
Wait a minute. Hold the phone. We'll stay rolling. Why did this stop?
Okay.
Why did this just stop? Isn't that plugged in? What is going on? Why is there so much technical stuff going on this time around?
I don't know.
What the heck? I don't understand. This dude.
You're
How
good.
long has that been off for? I think it just went off. Because I saw it in the corner of my eye like a flash go off.
Yeah. Everyone's going to think you edit.
Said covering data, please wait. All right. Jesus Christ. Well, worst case scenario.
Yeah, whatever.
Oh my God, we're back.
Yep.
So, the cable for the battery for the camera was not fully. It was like plugged in, so the illusion that it was charged and plugged in, but it was like slightly detached, and the camera got unplugged and died.
That's all right.
So we're back. The
Okay.
second air. So I do 4 podcasts. Perfect. Everything's fine. Like you come in, an audio air.
Well, I kind of attract that anyway. You know what I mean? That's like goofy things like that. Like, have you seen my car window yet?
No.
No. All right, so you wouldn't know about this, but my car window broke, and it's been broken for a year, and it costs probably $65 to fix it. And my resourcefulness was to jimmy it so that it's cracked enough that I could leave a cigarette out and smoke out of it, and then have what I call a car blanket, where I just put it on the seat when it rains on it, and that's my
it.
yeah. So
And-
technical errors and just dealing with it is like I bring that in here. I brought that.
We'll blame you then.
Yeah, it's I'm fine
Never
with that.
again will this happen. But
Okay.
we're talking about Nazis and hammer throwing. So let's get back to that. You have to be what Scottish, English, Irish, one of those things.
I'm Scottish and Mexican,
right. I forgot you're
Yeah.
Mexican.
and you are too.
I am half Mexican.
You are half
yeah. My
Mexican.
father is 100%.
And my mom is 100%.
Look at that. Maybe we're related. No, we're not.
I don't-
What's your mom's maiden name?
Pacheco.
Interesting.
What's yours?
Arguelles.
Okay, that's not even close. Can you have a maiden name? I feel like I messed up that question.
Well, men can, but traditionally, most of the time, you can bet that they probably don't, especially in the Hispanic community. Most likely, you're just going to keep keeping that male name coming down.
Right.
My brother and I are the last of the Arguelles in our family because my
okay.
grandfather had a lot of daughters. So we got to, and I'm like, my brother's going to have a kid soon, but I'm like, am I going to have a kid? I don't know. Who
Yeah.
knows? Maybe one day. I have no idea.
Do you want kids?
I do, but I'm so focused. I have a lot of big ideas, and they're kind of getting in the way. Like I kind of do stuff from sun up to sundown, and like
I know, it's hard.
I'm just like I don't want to be that guy. Like, say I made enough money to
Yeah.
hire like a nanny. I don't want to do that. Like I don't want to do that.
I want to do that.
I
But I also want your Bentley.
if I did, but I don't want to do it because I want to be there for the kid. I don't agree with other people raising people's kids personally.
Yeah.
If you want to do it, that's fine. But personally, I couldn't do it. I want to read the book to them. I want to show them how to play guitar. I want them to break their finger under my watch.
I feel like I should have, like, if I could afford, like, a little bit of help, I think I'm going to take it. Otherwise,
yeah.
every meal might get dropped on the floor. Not even by the kid, by me. And then I have to, like, check if, like, my partner saw it. And they're like, it's fine, just eat it. Or, like, it's fine. Look, I'm eating it. So this is how I grew up.
Like paying for like babysitters and stuff, that's one thing. But to have someone like literally doing the house stuff for you, I don't know. I can't get behind it because I don't know what it might teach the kid and what kind of level it puts their hierarchy in their mind of what they are to other kids.
Well, they don't know about the money exchange.
No, but they'll figure it out eventually.
Eventually.
And I like having that extra leg up. I'm not a big fan of having too big of a leg up in society. I think people should be more on an even keel, even playing field.
Yeah.
But
When
even
it's-
that's hard to talk about because it's like then you have to think about race. I'm a man. I already have a leg up technically. So it's
Right.
like, but I'm just saying if you have two parents and they're working, I don't know. I just feel weird. Like, kid's got a nanny, kid goes to private school. It's like, that just yields someone who's already like notches above other kids just because of that money part of it,
I guess.
I personally don't like that.
Okay.
I don't know. I know everyone wants that because they don't want to have to do that work. They want the kid to go to private school to get the better education. But they're only getting the better education because the system is set up to where you now have the money to pay for it. But the public school system is like, it's whack. It's screwed. And the kids who go there just get like that mid-level medium of education.
Yeah.
And then there's like the poor neighborhoods or the low-income neighborhoods that get the really low education. It's sad how it trickles down.
Well, I feel the reason why I want it is because
Enough of being serious. I want to tell you why I don't want it.
I am being serious though. I am is because I typically work 60 plus hours a week,
Yeah.
and I also might be traveling if I get back into traveling. So I might be gone for 2 months.
Sounds like you shouldn't have a kid.
That's what I'm saying.
So wait, Do you want to have a kid?
I mean, here's what I'm not opposed to one accidentally being presented. You know,
Oops.
it's like, hey, by the way, I'm like, you know,
That'd be terrifying to hear right now.
I don't know. I had like a couple pregnancy scares that like it was like determined, like, or I was just like, oh, I think I'm like ready for a kid because I did. They're like, hey, it might happen, and I'm like, all right.
I guess.
I'm like, okay.
I feel like that's every guy. They're just like, all right.
But I didn't get any like fear from like I might be pregnant. I was just like, okay. And then like,
So you accepted it. You were like, okay, I can
it was
fix
like
that.
my first thought was like you're not an idiot. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you're very well put together. My current girlfriend. Like I'm like, if she like it was just like, hey, I might be. And I was just like, okay.
You're also
I'm not
30.
afraid of that.
You're also 30.
That is true.
That's a huge difference between like 18, 19, 20, 21, you know?
Yeah, it was. You know, if I was 25, I'd probably be like, heck no.
Me too.
I mean, like, I've already been in that situation when I was like 26, the trying to have a kid, and I was just like, what's not?
It wasn't for you. That's when I first met you then.
Yeah.
About 25, 26.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
How did we actually meet? Like, did you? I think you messaged me on Facebook.
Probably. I'm just gonna take your word for it because I don't even remember.
If my memory serves me well,
It's better than mine.
I hear it enough to where I have to trust that my memory's right because I just hear it enough. I think it was March 2016.
Or you got the month and date.
Yeah, it's a problem I have.
Okay.
And you reached out saying that you liked what I was doing here and you wanted to like donate art and help out in some way with like DZ Fest or something like that.
Okay.
So you came over to the basement and I showed you around and then you brought all that artwork and that's when you were like, choose whatever you want. And I was like, well, it's a 6-piece artwork and you're like, to take it. I was like, all right. I mean,
Yeah.
this is amazing. And you were very generous with that, so thank you.
I remember one of the reasons why I was so like willing to part with it is because I was researching on how to be archival with everything, and I used the wrong tape when I was painting it.
Oh, really?
And it said on the website I read that in 50 years from now it might get an orange hue on the border.
That like look cool though.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like who cares? I don't know. I was trying to be a nerd about it.
Well,
Like,
now it's in those frames.
it looks great here. It belongs here.
Thank you.
It belongs here.
I thank you. That's why I put it up. I always had it up. I didn't have it framed, and I always made sure not to put thumbtacks through and stuff. But then when I
See,
framed
that's
it,
why it belongs here. Because you didn't put thumbtacks in it.
I did no.
You technically treated that painting better than I did.
You had thumbtacks in it. There was holes in the corner when you gave it to me.
See, that's what I'm talking about. That's why I need a nanny too.
Oh man. But yeah, then you
This baby's diapered is a Pink Floyd T-shirt. That's not right. It's like, why? It's collecting the same thing.
man, that'd be so cool if they made like cool diapers. They should make like artsy diapers, like hip diapers, like a Pink Floyd diaper.
You want to go in on this? You got a business
I
idea?
think it's because they're so disposable, literally, that it's kind of like a waste of money.
Yeah.
Just to keep it plain white and keep it simple. Also, I
Right.
think the white helps with the color, knowing like, yeah, there's pee and poo in there, black and yellow and white.
I got yeah.
Yeah.
Did you go? Yeah, you
Like,
did.
imagine if
Yeah,
it was
you
a
did.
brown diaper. You'd be like, I don't know. There you go.
Like this, like how the Spartans wear red, so you can't tell.
If they're bleeding.
Yeah.
Is that why?
Yeah, that's why they did it. They were red. But then like if you have like a Spartan baby, they just wear brown diapers, I guess.
Changing a diaper is crazy. I've
that-
only done it a couple times. It's weird. You're just like this little thing, this little entity just doesn't, it's just hanging on by a thread. It just takes so much effort from everyone else to keep it going.
I remember one time when I was with my ex-wife, we went to a baby shower for her sister, and for some reason I got they're like, go do this diaper changing contest. Go do it. It'll be funny or whatever. And I went up against her sister's fiance or whatever, and I was like, I've never even held a diaper. I've never even held a diaper. And they're like, change the diaper. And I'm like, how? I'm just staring at it. And this guy who's already had like 1 or 2 kids was like, like kung fu mastered this diaper change on a teddy bear. And I just look like an idiot. in front of
So
everybody.
you lost the challenge.
I've been embarrassed many times in my life, but that's one highlight of my life where I was just like, that was so embarrassing.
How many people were watching?
Probably 30. 30 strangers were watching me not change a diaper. Have you ever been embarrassed by not changing a diaper?
No.
I have.
I've been embarrassed, but not like that. No. You know, I think the key to life is to just not get embarrassed and just embrace all things that come your way.
Yeah, be present. Even I mean, like, man, dude, I have like.
What did you just say?
I really felt under the microscope that day.
Were you? How many guys were there? Aren't baby showers mostly women most of the time?
I think
know.
so.
I've never been to one, so that's why I'm saying that. I don't know.
I think if like, I don't know, if the family's small enough, the men are allowed.
I hate all of it. I'm just gonna go out there.
There's
and say
so
that.
many weird traditions.
I hate all of it.
Yeah, it's
You know what traditions I like?
weird. Huh.
Let's just hang out and have a good time. That's
Right.
I like that.
Yeah.
But like these weird, arbitrary, and they seem arbitrary, and then we make them not by the gifts, and you have to do this, and you bring the toaster and the blender. It's like
Yeah.
they don't know what kind of toaster I want.
Yeah.
You know, I want to get the toaster I want to get.
Right.
You know, I don't know.
It's all different. Everybody's different.
I don't know many guys that like go into any of this stuff. In fact, I don't really know any that do. All of them are like, oh, I have to go to this, I have to do that. Yep,
Yeah.
I have to go to so and so's baby, that shower, this wedding reception, the engagement party, and they're all just like, oh,
Yeah.
never into it.
I don't know how. Like, there's so much planning that
Yeah.
I just don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like I'm kind of like aloof a lot of time. Like, I always have to be like kind of like always figuring out what's going on like presently.
Is that why you were like, text me before?
Yeah,
So
I
I texted you every day, by the way.
Did you? Okay, good. Yeah, that's how I got here. And then I showed up 15 minutes early.
Yeah, and then you're like, it's 4:30, and I'm upstairs. I'm upstairs in my boxes just doing push-ups instead of
Yeah.
listening to a comic podcast, a comedian podcast.
That's weird because when I texted you, I was doing dumbbells.
Yeah?
Yeah, no. You said you worked out, now I have to.
And you're like, hey, I'm leaving now. I'm like, wait, what? I thought it was at 6. I was like, all right, hold on. I got to make dinner. I make my food. But it was quick. I did my
Yeah.
shower and all that. It was all good. Perfect timing, honestly.
Good. Good.
But yeah, it's funny. I texted you every day and then I texted you today and you're like, oh, shoot, thanks for reminding me. I was like,
Yeah, it's hard. I just get lost in time.
Mm-hmm.
I have like a horrible sense of time.
Hey,
Well, I've always had it.
I know a couple people like I have a couple students like that. I have a couple friends like that. I don't get it. I have to say I get it to make people feel bad, but I don't. I have like the opposite. Like,
Yeah,
like the opposite of that. That does not happen to me.
it's more about the awareness of the day that I have a really hard time with it. Like I remember, like it was just yesterday. I was just like, I got a phone call. They're like, "Can you work tomorrow?" And I'm like, "I can only work at your company on the weekend." And they're like, "Today's Friday." And I'm like, "What?" They're like, "Today's Friday. Tomorrow is the weekend. Are you available?" I was like, "Oh, then yes." And I hung up and I was like, "When did they become?" I thought it was Tuesday. Like it's like that bad.
Man,
It's
do you keep a calendar or schedule in a calendar or anything?
what did you
Like
what,
in your phone? Do you?
What kind of goofy thing are you saying to me?
Do you keep a calendar like in your phone, like what I'm looking at right now, like to keep track? Like I have you in my phone, like
Right.
today, the calendar, 6 p.m. Brennan Weaver, Bending Brains podcast, like everything's in there. I remember it, but that helps, and then that reinforces it, and then you get notifications, and like it all kind of builds up.
I think
Reinforces
it's happened because for about 10 years now, professionally, I've been on call 24/7 every day of the week, and
my
I've
God.
had to leave states within 4 hours. So it's like I'm just like, it's just a day. I exist. I wake up. I go here, and then like,
That makes
if
sense.
I don't have to go there, it's a lovely surprise.
That makes a lot of sense then.
You know what I mean?
So you weren't like that when you were under like 20, like high school?
I don't know because it was like, so I've always been like, do you know I like used to play baseball like a lot.
Mm-mm.
So I was a year-round baseball player growing up.
Travel ball too?
Yes, travel, fall ball, winter ball, indoor ball. It was baseball.
What year, what age you start?
I don't even know.
Like 5, 6
I
ball?
couldn't even tell you.
Right, because time. You're like, well, I don't know.
My dad got me into baseball very little, and it was like, it became like my first job probably.
What position?
I'm left-handed, so I would play pitcher, first base, or right field.
Right.
And I was brought up to only play those three positions.
Right field's for the good reasons. Because I played right field for the bad reasons.
Right, and
It's
really funny
so they put me in
because
the right field.
it's usually like where like people usually I play right field because I suck, and it's just like you didn't play travel, and you're probably right-handed then. Or
I'm
something.
right-handed. I was terrible at baseball. It turns out I know why.
Uh-huh.
I have no fine depth perception. So like moving things, like I can't watch 3D movies. That just doesn't do anything. It actually hurts my eyes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's because of the head surgery. It's a long story.
All right.
My head surgery. It's messed up my eyes. But anyway, yeah. So I always was terrible at baseball, just terrible. And I'm good at basketball, but only like down low, doing like layups and assists. I'm really like smart with how to play the game, but I'm
Okay.
like not good at shooting because of the like it's a weird
Interesting.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I can't explain it. And I was always good at like being like a safety in football because I could jump kind of high and run fast,
Oh,
and I would
okay.
just full out dive so I could swat the ball down.
hated
but I couldn't
football.
catch it well because of it's a
Yeah.
problem. I like can't do things like that, but I could find a way to work well with it, you know.
Yeah.
But how long did you play for?
Till I broke my arm. So when I was like 16.
Oh.
So I broke my arm throwing a fastball.
Whoa.
I
Wait.
had-
So you're pitching.
yeah.
You throw a fastball and your arm breaks.
On the bottom of the 7th inning.
I don't know if I've
with
ever heard of
2
that
outs.
happening before. I've heard of like ligaments and tendons being.
Yeah, no, the ligament that goes across my elbow bone pulled a chunk of my elbow bone away from the rest of the
How
bone.
fast were you throwing? Our
Uh,
oldest Chapman over here. Were you throwing 100?
no, I was a junk thrower too. That was the thing. But what happened was it was October and I was wearing short sleeves and I wasn't wrapping my arm, so my ligament got tight and I was throwing like it's loose, and I heard a loud pop and I couldn't lift my arm.
How bad that hurt?
It hurt pretty bad.
Yeah.
I got the ball and I like ball back from the pitcher, and I was like, I called the coach over and he's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "I don't think I could do this." He's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "I can't move my arm. It just popped." He's like, "What do you mean it popped?" And I tried explaining it to him. So I go and throw a pitch. Let's say like this cup is like first base, and like I'm throwing like trying to do it again. I wind up and everything like that. I literally throw it and it goes pew. It didn't make it to home, and that's an automatic walk. So
You tried throwing with it?
yeah, and not only did they all thought it was tendonitis, so they're like, just keep throwing on it.
Dude, coaches are the worst sometimes.
Yeah,
Like,
I think they knew I hated baseball anyway, so they're like,
you
don't even
did
want.
it that long and you hated it?
I hated it.
Why'd you wait?
I hated it.
You were talking about it as if you loved it until just now.
No,
You're like, yeah, I played it my whole life. I played all year round.
I did.
Why'd you do all that if you hated it?
I don't know. That was the situation I was put into, and I just kept doing it. And then like I don't regret it because it's probably made me into the weird 70 an hour a week is the new 40-hour work week for Brennan Weaver.
But is that a good thing?
I've been trying to work less.
It's not a good thing. I hate to break it to you.
I know that. And it was
Don't let society tell you otherwise.
well, here's the thing. Last year at its peak during I'm legit a workaholic.
Oh, yeah.
I talk about it on my podcast, and I started.
What's your podcast?
my podcast?
I know you have a podcast. What's it called?
Bewee's Better Podcast on Spotify.
Do you wait, say it again?
BEWEE pod. But if I fucked it up.
All right, start clean.
Yeah,
Start over.
Bewee's BEWEE Better Podcast. I almost said .com, but now I'm confused. I don't even know. Wait, what time is it? Chris, do we have a website yet? This is my producer.
Oh, okay. Man.
That was a weird inside joke I just got pulled into.
Do you what do you talk about in your podcast?
I just talk. I don't know. The last podcast I talked about how much I hate my blinds.
Okay, it's one of those podcasts. That's great.
I was like, I fucking hate these things. I'm like, they're the white plastic ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where they-
Oh yeah.
like that.
Yeah. They are bad. I hate those.
They just make me feel like I like spilled food on the floor.
The ones that do that?
No. The one,
Just the flat one.
It's got like the one where you like do the thing, that little rod. I didn't go this in depth in the podcast about my
Yeah.
blinds. I just complained about them.
I hate those type of blinds, and I hate the ones they remind me of sleeping at a friend's house in an apartment in the
Yeah.
90s. The ones that just turn this way, the big ones that go
Oh, they're like that. They're like
across.
that big. Yeah.
It just reminds me of that.
I
And
remember
it reminds,
those.
I just don't. It's a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah. I don't know. It's something about like, it's just so, I don't know. I don't even know what it is. I just don't like it.
And this is on Spotify. Anything else?
Spotify, Anchor, whatever Anchor put it on.
Probably Apple.
Yeah,
Amazon
Apple
and
Podcasts. You know, my friend Chris, I call him Chris Buttshit because his name's Chris Bongut.
Oh, that's good.
But I think it's
Close enough.
It's it's a respectable nickname.
Yeah, it's good.
I love introducing him. Like, this is Chris Buttshit, and then just seeing what he does with it.
Like, what?
He's like, yeah, I'm Brennan's friend. But he doesn't like. So we edit my podcast.
Mm-hmm.
He clips it kind of. I record about 19 to 25 minutes. So if I record 19 to 20 minutes, it's probably going to be somewhere around 19 to 20 minutes, if that makes sense. Like if I record for 24 minutes, it's going to end up being
Like
22 minutes.
2-3 minutes shorter.
Yeah, just like,
Little stuff.
Yeah. And then like what he'll do is insert his opinion on my opinion in a comedic way, or like he'll just do something to like kind of like be the demigod of the podcast to show, because he technically has the power of what comes out on the podcast, and he has we decided to give him complete creative control over it.
Oh, that's an interesting concept.
So he can take any direction at any moment the podcast that he sets the podcast. I deliver just something for him to make it malleable, and it's usually at my expense.
No, that's cool.
It is, yeah.
That's cool. That's what's fun about podcasts is even in the conversation, even in that self, there's an art form. You can different versions. I've heard edited ones. I've heard different takes. When I heard people they ask a certain question at the beginning, they talk for a bit, and then they have one at the end. People have a 1 hour format. I'm just trying to do it unedited, just as however long we want to talk.
Well, yeah, yours is like the long haul kind of one. Mine's a short. You got to drive here, pop it in, and it's Chris does a great job with it. He
cool.
honestly does. He makes the podcast.
Is he a comic as well?
He is a comic as well,
So
and
you
a
guys
super
have fun with
talented
it.
music. Yeah, he has more. I hope he has more fun with it than I do. When like in terms of like making the podcast, I hope he has more fun with it, because I technically have more fun listening back to it. I become like a follower of my own podcast because I don't know what's going to happen with it. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know what. I have no control over where it gets edited or anything, so it's a surprise for me too. Even if I like hear it like 100 times before I send it to him, like, and I approve that will be an episode release, because I can submit it and then be like, cut that episode completely. But if it becomes an episode, it basically gets the flair of his personality.
Yeah. And you guys are on Instagram, Facebook, all that?
Yeah.
And do you have a separate account for like your artwork or anything?
No, I don't really promote art anymore because I just focus on the conversational medium now, and I'm really pushing my podcast. So you can, like, my Instagram is broken.laptop.guy, and everything's so clunky and not ever like, whereas it's not like it's not a good business model right now.
Hey,
That's why I just go to Spotify, Bewee's Better Podcast, BEWEE. Or if you want to follow Chris Bong shit, I think it's ChrisBot5000 on Instagram. See,
kinda
his
like
makes
Power
sense.
Man 5000?
Yeah, kind of like
Is that what that's from?
I have no idea. I never asked him that.
That's the band.
I remember.
Yeah, from Tony Hawk, that one song. This is what it's like.
They had two good songs. Two really good ones.
I just remember that one from playing Tony Hawk.
Fuck, what's the other song that they have? It's going to kill me.
How about this? 2020 resolution. 2021. I forgot what year it is.
Right.
You promote your artwork more. I'll promote my music more.
Oh, you want to go? All right, yeah. I got, man.
Did
How
you
dare
just say anything?
No.
You're just like,
You didn't understand that? It's probably my accent.
Yeah, let's do that. By 2022, but this over this year, take your time with it.
Yeah.
No rush, but like
You
that's
too.
the goal. I'm going to take my time.
All right.
I have to change a word, or I have to change a letter in the word of the name because there's already a band out there
Okay.
that has Wilshire. And on Spotify, like my music is like underneath theirs, and it's hard to find because
Why
of
don't you
that.
put Wilshire, Illinois, like Kuba Khan did?
I'm just gonna
So
put
that-
another I in there because
Oh.
whatever. Just call it like Wilshire, you know, whatever.
Because like, here's one. This metal band I really like is called Kuba Khan.
Mm-hmm.
But when you search it, all that comes up is Kuba Khan, not the band. So they just put TX after it. So when you search it, it's just like, yeah, that one.
Okay.
It's Kuba Khan,
Yeah.
but it's like Kuba Khan, Texas on paper.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. See, that's easier though because it's like one is a city or a state or a place, and the other one is a band. Whereas this is a band and a band, so it gets really confusing because it's all
Right.
the same. The algorithm of the music, you type in Wilshire band, Wilshire music, just that band pops up because they're
Right.
a little bit more. But they were a band 20 years ago. So-
Okay.
I hate that crap. Anyway,
You could say the Wilshire,
you know,
a Wilshire,
the Wilshire.
the better Wilshire.
Oh man, I'm so glad to still be playing music with friends and still be like in bands. It's great.
Yeah. Have
It's
you ever
fun.
toured with any of it?
No,
any of it.
that's the goal. Like this,
I want to tour with comedy really bad.
That'd be cool.
I
You
wa-
should.
I really
That's
want to.
how does that work at like? Because like at my level, so if I could break it down at like the music level, it's not that hard
Right.
for like my band or the bands I'm in to tour. We really just reach out to different cities,
Yeah.
and try to book a show.
Same thing.
Same thing.
Same thing, probably. You know,
Oh, you never tried, or
you not really,
No.
but everybody has connections. Like, anybody know anybody in Minneapolis?
Right.
Twin City comedy or
So there's just a whole scene, whole DIY
Across the
scene
country.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
there's like that with art. There's that with music. There's that with comedy.
The DIY part of comedy is usually a bar show, though.
There's not like a basement somewhere. Where,
There's 3 that I know of, including yours. There's DZ, which is probably you guys are the most organized that I've seen.
oh, thanks.
Actually, there's 4, and debatably, well, what is it called? Shithole Comedy. They do it in Chicago.
Okay.
They're really organized and really well put together and really good at promoting themselves. And they have a brand, like you have a brand. You guys are probably like right
I have
here.
a brand.
DZ's a brand.
I don't know what it is.
It's kind of
I
technically.
don't know what a brand is. I like
People know what kind of music that comes through here. People
all kinds of music.
Right.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Like that's kind of what it's like. Deer Trotter. Deer Trotter's a brand. They have
Mm.
you have a logo and DZ and the presence and
It's weird when you're within it. It's hard to detach. And
Yeah, I
see
guess so.
it, you know.
Yeah.
But I believe you.
yeah, like I said it like not like capitalistic.
Yeah,
like,
I know
the
what you mean.
brand. Like,
I know what you mean.
it's not like you're on like. It's not like these mugs are on Amazon.
That I'd be so mad if that was real. if these mugs were on Amazon.
Yeah, these are awesome, by the way.
Thank you. A good friend made them. She's a great artist. She made the design, and then
Whoever did this, the whole thing,
Yeah.
dude, man, wow.
check her
Big
out,
up.
Karen Moody.
Moody.
Mooney.
Mooney.
Karen Mooney, great artist. Yeah.
Yes, they are really good.
No, as soon as I saw her work, I was like, that's who I want to make like the
They're perfect.
artwork.
I remember when you first put this, I was like, that's perfect for Ben. Everything.
I love that there's 4 fingers. It's like really cartoony.
Oh yeah, there is.
It's good.
This is awesome.
Yeah, it's fun.
Color scheme, everything, they nailed it. What's a weird thing that you have to do when you're in the highbrow thing? Like, do you ever have to like compliment art that you really don't like,
I mean, I'm not really
or articulate it or anything?
I'm not really in the highbrow thing, but
Okay.
like going through school
Yeah.
in the highbrow thing,
Right.
I know what you're saying, but at that level, it's also acceptable to like not say anything at all as well. So like if I
Interesting.
felt like I didn't want to say something that I didn't like in front of everybody and be that person, I just like didn't say anything at all.
Okay.
I'm more along the lines of constructive criticism. If I'm going to say something, I'll say it like in a polite and professional way.
Right.
If I could say, go, like, that's cool, but like, what about X, Y, and Z, you know, or did you try it this way? But then you realize once you get to like art and expression, it's the most subjective thing that I'm like, who am I even to say I
Right. Even
don't or do like it?
Even why you laughed at a joke is subjective.
Yeah, that's why some people don't like
Everything is.
certain jokes and some people do.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And that's how it is with certain artwork. It's like, if I don't like it, I don't like it. But I don't know. If I don't like it, it's not that I don't like it because I think it's bad or good. I just like it's just done. It's not making the connections and ringing the bells in my head for me.
Right.
It might be fine for someone else. I don't think it's good to like take opinion and subjectivity and push it on as if it's law and rule and like I don't like this. I think it's bad. That's why I have a hard time with pricing art. I have a hard time finding value in it fiscally, like financially.
Shouldn't it be the artist's responsibility to understand what their cost of overhead is and how much time they put into it?
It is.
Whether if you're a process artist or you were working on your thesis and that's how you did it, and then you entered into a free market and then it went off from there with its own price.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it is.
So
it is. That's I don't know. I don't know enough about it because I couldn't like fit into that world because I don't have that type of mentality. I'm like I have a hard time putting my music out there to sell it. I have a hard time make like the sound art stuff.
I hate selling my art. I hate it.
How did you sold it at DZ Fest though?
I did. I did.
Did you hate that?
The hatred comes in like a few months later.
Okay.
When I'm like, why do they do that? I feel like I pornographied my art in some way, you know?
I mean, but how would you say?
Because I feel like I might have, because I like where it's more about the relationship with the buyer, if they have an original, especially like where it's just like, I'm like, how well do they really know them? Do they really get it? Do they really respect it? You know, like it would be like not everybody has like, you know, a brain like you where it's like, you want to, like, if you, like, I wouldn't ever make you buy it, but you know what I mean? Like, where it's like, you would be allowed to buy something from me. I sold, the last painting I sold was actually, like, last week to a friend of mine. And it was like, he's like, is it okay if I buy it? Because I know you're weird about it. And I'm like, you can.
Oh, I see. So you're okay with selling when you know the relationship to it and you know the person's going to, they really are gaining something from like they truly have a connection to
like,
it.
It's like you would, that's what it is.
That makes sense.
And it's like if you know, I don't know, it just feels like, is this junk to you in 5 years? Is this junk to your kids later? What is it? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's like my problem with it.
Yeah.
You know, if anybody's gonna like, you know, how people refer to their babies, art as their babies. It's like if anybody's gonna kill their babies, it's gonna be me. It's gonna be me.
Have you ever destroyed any of your paintings?
Yeah, sometimes probably. I don't know. If I did, I don't remember it. But I also,
What do you mean you
it
don't
sounds like
remember
it sounds like something that would happen to me.
Like too drunk or something? What do you mean you don't remember it?
I don't know. I probably stepped on it and it was like, and like ripped it. And it was like, oops. And
I meant deliberately. Like,
deliberately?
You're just like, screw this. You just destroy it.
I mean, I throw out shit that I don't like that I made. You know, and I'm like, it didn't really work out. You know.
Man.
Usually, what happens is it'll stay in sketch limbo. That's probably the closest I get to destroying a piece of art. Where I'm like, maybe in 8 years I'll come back to this sketch I put 10 minutes into and could never figure out, and I'll look at it like once every other month and be like, "Yep, still looks like crap," and like leave it in this book, and that's it. And then every once in a while I'll look at that and be like, you know, this looks less crappy now because I feel like I know what to do with it. You know, I'm in the right place. I'm like, my window looks different today. You know, the shade of the sun and this indigestion I had from last night's Taco Bell put me right in the mood to fix this sketch, and now I can do it.
So
you know?
that inspiration comes from just real life things going on, like
it's all about presentness.
Yeah,
that's where I try and come from present, like being present as much as possible. Mostly probably because I struggle with it a lot. Like everybody's probably struggles with it, but like, you know, it kind of freaks me out a little bit, like, because like dementia runs in my family and stuff like that. And then like it is silly that I thought it was Tuesday when it's Friday, but it's like at the same time it's just like life is fleeting.
Yeah.
And then who knows? Maybe by tomorrow, like so much time will go by and I'll be 35, and then my life will start declining.
35 is the number, right? I forgot.
Yeah.
So, before you paint, is it effortless? Does it come out naturally?
It better be. Otherwise, I don't like it.
Okay.
So it's like there has
Nothing's
to be...
contrived or forced.
Right.
Right.
It can't be forced. Because I grew up always hearing, remember, if it's forced, it's not meant to be. So I kind of think I navigate through
From
that.
your grandmother? Or?
It's just a family thing.
Okay. And your parents artists in any way?
No.
No?
They don't get art.
Yeah.
They don't at all. You know, they try. But
Well, at least they try.
You know what I mean? Like, we're just like, it has to be like a photograph of Michael Jordan, though. Like, it's pretty much what it, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
they're not seeing the photography as the art; they're seeing him as the art.
Right.
Got it.
You
I
know
mean,
what
he is an artist in his own way.
Right. And it's like, there's like where it should look pretty and not, I shouldn't, like, where it's just like, if it looks pretty and I don't have to think about interpreting anything, I like it. You know what I mean? Like, I just, like,
Are you speaking from their perspective?
from their perspective,
Yeah.
like, I like those trees you painted, and that's it. That's all art is. It's just images. It's not conveying messages or like it. It's kind of weird when they get like, they're kind of weird about expressing things artistically. They're just not good at it.
Would you say it's probably safe to assume that a lot of people who might not be into artwork might assume art is only like good when it's like a good representation of reality, such as like a scenic painting that like looks like the trees and the grass outside, versus something abstract, obscure.
For some
strange.
people, I'm sure it is.
That seems
You
to
know
be
what I mean?
like where people go with a general ground, like that when they say it's not good because it might not be an exact representation of reality.
Some people confuse the trade skill of it for being an artist. You know what I mean? I'm not really that great at drawing, technically. I'm a better artist than I am as a drawer. If somebody's like, draw this for me, I'm like, good luck. It's not going to look like how you want it. I can't do that. I'm not a good drawer. If I can create art for me and fuck everything else, I'll like it eventually. You know what I mean? If I don't like it, it gets tossed.
Yeah.
It wasn't in the proper Brennan Weaver universe.
That's what I love about artists, like having that mindset and knowing what it's like to not have any constraints except for like what's in the physical world.
Yeah.
Like when you made the backdrop for DZ Fest, like I just gave you the dimensions, like that's it.
Yeah.
I
That
think
was
I
really
told you
cool.
one thing. I was like, just put DZ Fest somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
And like however you want to get to that,
Yeah.
like just do whatever you want. Because like, I don't know,
I would really like to redo it one day.
maybe this year.
Yeah.
I've been using it every year since
I know. I
2016.
see that. I get it. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Every year.
And
It's crazy. I have it rolled up, laying in the attic. I have an ungodly amount of wild art around from
I'm sure you do.
DZ Fest.
Man.
I just have layers. I think I have 96 feet by 4 feet of just awesome paintings on wood.
Are
from
you?
the stages.
Is DZ like on this weird Silk Road of traveling music, like from coast to coast? Because it sometimes feels like it is. Like
How do you mean?
So if like I don't know, like people like that, like they're going on tour, like where should we stop? It's like well, if you go through the Midwest and hit through Illinois, try and hit Hickory Hills and end up at the DZ house. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And they're like, oh, okay. And then they look at it like, oh, I guess we're gonna head and
I mean, for a while pre-COVID, I was getting a lot of touring bands.
that's what it seems like. where
Like
it's-
one or two a week. Yeah, like a touring
Yeah.
band just from
It's
around the
crazy.
country. It was really fun getting international bands. Like that was so cool to just meet people from Japan and Korea and Italy and
Yeah.
England and Canada, and it's great. Well, and then you sit there.
Sometimes, like how does a band from Japan end up here? In our, in that we're just like, people around here don't even know about this. You know what I mean?
You either reach out to them or they reach out to you, or they hear about it through word of mouth from someone else. They might have been playing a show somewhere and they're like looking for a place to crash or stay the night. That's another thing I miss, is having bands stay the night, because talk about camaraderie and getting to know people, like
I'm sure.
being on tour. If you've ever been on a road trip, say you're not a person if you're listening and you've never, I'm trying to paint a picture for them and for you, if you've never been on tour, if you've ever been on a road trip, imagine that, but with a super tight schedule, next to no money. You're sleeping in a van with 3, 4, 5, 6 people. You have a ton of gear, most of the time maybe $10,000 worth, maybe more.
Yeah.
And you're afraid to leave it there because it gets broken into all the time in cities like Chicago, LA, New York. This stuff happens all the time. So I'm like, man, I have a garage. They could leave that stuff here. They could take a shower. We don't have a place to shower. They can do their clothes. I have tons of pillows and blankets.
Oh my
and then I
God.
get to stay up all night talking to bands around the country. You know, it's fun. I've learned so much from just talking to people from around the country because I'm not from Texas. I'm not from California.
Right.
I've been in this house for 31 years. So like taking in information, like listening to people and learning. Like this one guy stayed the night, really interesting musician. He's from Texas, and he had like the most historical knowledge of Texas I've ever heard. He like must have majored in college or something.
Yeah.
We talked all night, and I just sat there listening to him talk about the history of Texas. I like learned everything.
That's
just
awesome.
like I think we were
And
drinking
you
a
would
beer,
never
just
have that
talking.
conversation. You know what I mean?
No.
It's
And I don't even know the guy. He's like, "Can I sit down?" I was like, "Sure." I mean, I always just trust that no one's going to do anything sketchy, and so far it's worked. And yeah, I miss that. I miss like having people come here and meeting new people that way. It's really fun.
I'm sure it is.
It's wild. And doing this, like, I'm grateful people want to come here. Like, you wanted to reach out and make artwork at DZ Fest, you know? Like,
100%.
I'm grateful that people want to do it. And I'm happy to facilitate it, you know?
Yeah, because I mean, like, always felt kind of like when I was in the bands and stuff like that, there was always like a motivation problem sometimes with like one or two members.
There is, yeah.
And then it was like weird seeing like where it's just like you executing on the motivation that you say you have and following through on it, and then like and then you have fun ideas like trying to book Louis C.K. before he gets canceled after like 3 successful comedy shows.
Oh, I was like, man, we could like.
This was before Louis got canceled. That Ben said this. It was way before.
It was 2016, like the spring, or fall maybe. And I was just like, we can just get 100 people, $100 tickets. It's $10,000. Yeah, you'd probably stop in here to do that, right?
Yeah, I mean,
maybe
that's how this Louis story, like this side conversation you had. That's how I explain you to people. What's he like? I'm like, he's a really nice guy, and he thinks anything is possible if we all work together and put our heads.
It is.
It changed you changed my perception of like teamwork. You know what I mean?
But it really is possible. Like why we have a highway system is because we all come together and pay some type of tax to have it. Like when you like strength in numbers is a real thing, and we can solve hunger issues and poverty issues and disenfranchised people and mental illness and the opiate crisis and drug issues if we just come together and work at it instead of being so weird and patronizing and my team won and your team lost. It's so weird and stupid. And I get it. There's a lot of psychology behind it, tribalism. It goes deep. But man, we're on the same land, the land we don't even deserve. We took it from another people's culture, and can we at least try to do something for them and for us while we're here,
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole problem with like the argument, like big government, small government, local, I don't know. I think part of the problem is that America is just so big.
It's big
geologically.
It's big, yeah.
Each, like where it's like, or like in Switzerland or whatever, how it works, and everybody like there's more taxes, but they like it or whatever. Maybe I don't know. I'm not from Switzerland.
I've heard good things.
Yeah, that's what I was like.
Because of the free healthcare, free college.
Yeah,
but it works in those places.
Yeah, and it's like, how many time zones does Switzerland have? Because America has 5.
How many people?
Yeah.
How many different? The problem is this is what I've come up with. This is completely anecdotal.
Okay.
In my experience. I think the biggest problem is it's inherent to being American is the constant push of freedom,
right?
The melting pot. You can come here and do whatever. You lose an actual deep-rooted culture and heritage, and you gain this weird. It morphs into something different. Like I'm not saying other cultures and heritage are better, but because they have this, 5,000 years of culture or 500 years of culture, it's embedded in how they grow up, and they have a camaraderie together. In America, you're told, do whatever you want, be whatever you want, which is good, but then there's this thing, something comes with it. This is the fat that comes with it. is you have people who don't connect because they're like, well, I can do whatever I want. I don't have to be Jewish. I don't have to be agnostic. I don't have to be Christian. I can do whatever I want. So you have nothing to like really connect on except for this flag, and you go, I'm a patriot. Like that's the closest thing we have to like, I'm proud to be American. Like that's the closest thing we have.
Here's my thinking. Okay, if Switzerland decided to have a hot dog to be the Switzerland hot dog, it would be the same hot dog anywhere in Switzerland. We don't have a hot dog that's an American hot dog besides just a hot dog, Chicago style. If you go to Kentucky and try and order a Chicago style hot dog, they're going to be like, what's on that? Carrots and cabbage? I don't know. You want everything in the street, they'll just plop it on there.
Yeah.
So it's like that kind of, like,
It's cool though.
It is. It's awesome.
We get great art and culture and food because of it, because we combine everything. But I'm saying it's a good thing, but I'm saying I think there's this unfortunate thing, this baggage that comes with that, and that might be that not only thing we can act on is being American. Like that's it. We don't share the same values. Like the country's so big and there's so many people, and with all these different ideologies, different ethnicities, people are here for different reasons. Like it's built on an unstable foundation. When you have it built on slavery and a genocide of Native American people, like when you build on that and you build it on like let's abuse Chinese and Japanese coming here and Mexican people from the South, when you like exploiting them during the war or digging mines or digging tunnels for trains to go through in the 1800s, like when you do that and you build it on an unstable foundation, like that stuff doesn't go away, and it created a lot of problems,
right?
And other countries have that too, but I think we're so like big and powerful about it that we're too heavy for how weak the foundation is.
That's an interesting way to put that.
I don't know. I'm just ranting.
I mean, it sounded good.
I don't ever want to be a
To
politician.
me, I don't know.
A friend of mine was like, "Hey, we should like we should try to get like on the Chamber of Commerce or like board of something for the city." I was like, no. I want to do this.
Okay.
I want to play music
Yeah.
and build crazy crap. I don't want to like
Yeah.
have that type of responsibility. I already have enough like teaching
You do a lot
kids and
already.
stuff.
You do a lot.
Well, I just don't want to like have that where I have to wear like a suit and tie and be like, yes, sir, thank you, sir. I don't want to do that. And like actually have to listen to people's. I want to make a difference in a way you don't expect, so it can work, because politics, it can work, but it's so convoluted, no one trusts it. It's built on again an unstable foundation because it's got such a history of being filthy and being just kind of corrupt. So if I can like not be corrupt and still find a way to like make things grow and change things, I'd rather do it that way. I want to create the new avenue instead of that old avenue, because the old one, it's got a lot of potholes, a lot of cracks, too much salt. I don't like it. Again, just ranting.
No, yeah, I get it, but like that sounded like I was gonna like debate you on it. I get it, but
see, even the old format of debating is ridiculous.
I was gonna try and word it something like whereas I agree with you. I don't know how to say it, and I'm not the smart guy with any of that stuff.
I mean, I'm not either. That's why I'm not doing it like that. Because who knows?
Well,
like,
you know how like sometimes you like go into the world and like that guy's smart. You know what I mean? Like you could.
Who are you talking about?
Just like you're smart. Like if someone's like, Brennan, rank this smartness in this room, and I'd be like, well, based on that last sentence structure, I'm gonna list Ben as 1, and then old Bewee number 2, because like the smartest. This what was the word?
Intelligence is a weird one.
It's
a weird one.
It is a language thing, right? It's like it is almost like how do you communicate the thought the right way, correctly? You know?
Yeah,
and it is like, what's the freaking word for like art is subjective? It's all subjective.
Yeah,
it is all subjective, but I don't have a developed enough opinion or knowledge to even like look at this political climate right now and think that I can even have a solution for anybody.
There's not an easy solution, but there is one. It'll take a long time to have it come to fruition and dissolve the past problems and come with new ones. But what it just takes is 330 million people to like be open to that and pay attention, be patient, and like work together.
Right. But like, can I go back to the Nazi thing real quick?
Yeah, let's talk about Nazis again.
So it's like technically, like I was like, well, one being like cool with Nazism is bad. We can all agree,
course,
right?
yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
yes,
But being
100%.
forced to work every day in the same work van with a Nazi and trying to limit the conversation to maybe just, you know, like, hey, you like Nirvana? I don't think there's any conflict there. You know what? Like, and just like trying to be like, and then like be like, you know what I hate? Be like, I think I have an idea, but let's just see what's on 97.9. And like, you like 97.9 classic rock? You know, it's like, was I in the wrong side of history trying to like plant a seed of not being a Nazi?
To this guy?
Yeah, I'm saying like,
No.
you know, like it's just bizarre. You know, like I've brought up that I've worked with white supremacists before to like people that like I'm against it.
Yeah.
I'm against it. I'm against nationalists and everything like that.
Of course.
And everybody kind of looks at me. They're like, "Hey, you didn't say anything, huh?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't. I just kind of accepted Larry for who he was and appreciated how he cut drywall that day.
Yeah.
And removed it and took it to the truck and didn't complain to me. You know, that's it.
Well,
That's all it was at the time.
did you try to? So with that logic,
All I would say is, I think you know I have a different opinion, and we're not going to talk about it.
what would he say?
It was always fine. It was always fine.
You know why I was always fine? Because you're a white man.
Correct.
That's
And they
why.
don't know I'm half Mexican.
You don't look half Mexican.
I know,
At all.
I know.
How come I can like look half Mexican? You can't. That's weird.
Well, it's
Actually, I don't even get Mexican. People try to guess when they always go to Jewish. Like, I get it so much.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'm a small percentage, but not enough to where you'd be like, yeah, I'm Jewish. You know, I'm just like, I'm like a 16th, you know, my great-grandfather.
Okay.
My great-great-grandfather was Jewish. It's far removed, but like, you don't look Hispanic at all.
yeah.
It's interesting.
I think it's Spaniard,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's the Spaniard.
Well, see, yeah, like my 23andMe,
I-
25% Spanish.
I probably have Spaniard blood
Yeah,
in me.
more of
They
that.
came over and blah 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 and did the thing. And
What
then
they do again? They
I
just
don't know. They had a
played
party and everybody got
tetherball
along.
and
Everything
cricket.
was consensual.
Everyone agreed.
they just
To their defense, they did not know that they were going to be carrying smallpox and decimating 95% of Native Americans to South and Central and North America. I don't think they were aware of that.
I wasn't aware of that.
500.
I'm not a fucking history book fan. I don't know.
I like history because you got to learn from it. You got to learn from it.
We can all walk away from this podcast knowing it is bad to bring smallpox to any foreign.
Well, thank God we've taken care
Any
of that
stranger, yeah.
with health and vaccines. You know, vaccines, they tend to work.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know mine worked. I don't have polio. My grandma had polio.
Mm-hmm.
They came out with the vaccine, and no one's had it since. So,
Right.
yeah, I think it can help.
I've heard that.
Through the grapevine.
Through the grapevine somewhere. I think I was on a bus and I heard two people talking about that one.
Hey, I was thinking about getting this polio vaccine.
And I was just like, oh, this is a nice break from Nazism. Thank God I don't have to hear Larry.
Is Larry this person's
No,
real name? Okay,
it's not.
good. Don't say names.
Yeah.
That doesn't work well.
Yeah.
Yeah, the best way to handle how about this? I'm not gonna say the best. The worst way to handle someone that you have a disagreement with is to berate them.
Right.
Because if I were to sit here and berate you, in what world would you look at me and go like, "Yeah, man, you're right. I'm an idiot. I can't believe I did this and that. I can't believe I." It's like that doesn't. It just makes you more mad. It fuels it, you know.
Without a foundation of respect for the other person's opinion, yeah, why would it?
Oh,
you
yeah.
know what I mean?
That's the best way to work at it. Like, talk to them. You don't have to be best friends or buddies. You can be acquaintances, and when you talk, you can agree upon stuff, and you can find middle ground. And if someone is truly doing something as heinous as literally being like a Nazi and actually thinking that anybody else who's not German or at least super white and a man is like lesser, the best thing you can do is talk to them and slowly steer that ship over. It might take a decade.
Yeah.
Like it literally, because if anybody's doing that and they have a swastika on their back, like that's going to take a long
I
time
once
to
had
steer.
a guy, like literally the conversation was like, And I'm just the site manager, and I'm just there. And he's like, why can't I be privately racist at home? And I'm like, I mean, you can. I guess I don't know. It's your house. And he's like, I come to work. I get along with everybody. I don't cause shit. Why can't I just be privately? It's like, I don't know, dude. I don't have these answers.
Does that guy just, as soon as he closes the door, he just starts saying crazy stuff at home?
Who knows?
He's just like, oh, I finally can get that off my chest. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
like,
wild.
You know, I'm like where a lot of my friends are not in these professions where they're exposed to that kind of and it's like I feel like I'm being like they're like how didn't you something, and I'm like I don't know, dude.
It's what do you, so you're working together, like what are you actually going to do that's actually gonna be productive from the conversation? Like what you're hanging. We've been talking a lot about what you do, but we haven't actually said what you do.
Oh, I am in the emergency disaster response industry, so hurricane response cleanup.
Is that what you said? You leave town sometimes?
That's when I was leaving town. But it's a lot of people like water damage, fire damage, mold damage. The one that everybody loves to pick my brain about is the post-mortem cleanup after the dead. Yeah. That one, what?
You shouldn't have said that because now I'm like, ugh, I'm not going to, because I'm not going to fall into that. Let's talk about mold, black mold.
Yeah.
If it's in your house.
It is. Right now, there's spores everywhere. You can't avoid it.
Oh, there's definitely in this house. I mean, this house is 70 years old and it was built by my grandfather who didn't actually have like training in what he was doing. Like, it's definitely mold in this
I literally
house.
go, like, when people are just like, what about mold? I'm just like, I don't know. Do you go for walks in a forest preserve? How afraid are you? Like, if you're that afraid of your house, then what do you do in a forest?
Oh, yeah.
Do you enjoy nature or not?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I don't know what to tell you.
There's mold everywhere.
Everywhere. You can't get rid of it.
It grows naturally, especially when there's humidity and water. And water is everywhere. Everything is water.
Yeah.
It's going to find it, especially in older houses, it's going to find its way somewhere.
Yeah.
But maybe when it's much worse when it's like you could see it. Like it's
Yeah.
behind, it might be behind the wall somewhere.
And it's fine.
But when it's like, oh, it's right there on the wall.
Spores are spreading in here, and it's competing with other mold species and releasing mycotoxins is everybody's concern. And it's like, I don't know what to tell people. Like, where it's just like, is there mold in here? It's like, didn't you just trip on shrooms like 3 weeks ago? What do you care? You know, like
no, it wasn't 3 weeks ago. It was like a month.
No, I'm not
ago.
talking to you.
Have you?
Not in a long time.
But you have.
Oh yeah, it's great.
It's a great time. I won't say much, but I'm excited for a guest or two in the summer that is they're experts in this field. I'm excited to talk.
Nice.
To them.
Nice.
It's cool. Yeah, that's a whole nother world. And did you do them before any of your paintings?
What?
Like psychedelics of any kind?
Dude, I really thought you were asking me about like trauma scene cleanup. Like, did you ever do a bio? Did you ever haul a bloody mattress and then paint immediately after?
So you're doing it cleanups for like hurricane stuff. That's a wide variety. Someone who killed themselves or died on an accident, all the way to cleaning up a hurricane.
Yep.
There's no middle ground. There's no one who can do the other one and you do the other one.
Nope.
Wow.
Fill the Europe.
Wow.
Yeah.
The I had some friends who did that too, cleaning up people who
Post-mortem.
Yeah, and they said enough stories to where I'm just like, I mean, it's disturbing.
I got PTSD from it.
That's why I don't want to even bother you about it.
The last time I got committed was a PTSD response from trauma scene cleanup.
That's why I don't want to ask you about it. That's why I was like, let's just talk
I'm
about
totally
mold.
good with it now.
Are you?
I am good with it, yeah.
It's disturbing. Not you, but like you're disturbing.
Yeah.
No, it's disturbing
subjective
that
then.
someone has to do that. Like, man.
I would never trade that experience in my life.
No.
I would never. I always want it. I want it.
It's.
You know what it was? You know why I got PTSD from it? Because I was fucking cocky about it.
What do you mean?
That's what it was. I was the best at cleaning up dead people because I'm Brennan Weaver. I don't have a sense of smell and nothing bothers me. That's what it was.
And that got to you.
That got to me 4 years later.
Whoa.
And it's weird about stuff because, like, this is how it starts. It's a seed. It's all seed planting because you're in full mask, full headgear.
Yeah.
And you're alone cleaning up somebody that you've never seen before dead in their house. And it feels like people's walls become their spiritual entity or whatever. You know, you're seeing the personality, like whether they're clean or dirty or whatever. It's like, oh, I guess they liked Jimi Hendrix or whatever.
Yeah.
And I cleaned up after this one guy who OD'd and scalped his brain on a door on the way down and on my brink. That was a lot of detail for you. Sorry.
Wait, when he scalped his brain?
He died walking out of the bathroom and, like, you know, bifold doors?
Mm-hmm.
He hit his head on the way down and it scalped him. I didn't mean to laugh. But
I'm not laughing because I'm laughing that you just laughed at saying that.
I mean, it was like a fucking, it was scalped, dude. I was like, oh, this is what the Mayans were doing. I was like, I get what it looks like now. I put it in a bag.
Dude.
Yeah.
So that happened 4 years ago?
I don't remember. But the thing that
Right,
sticks
of course
with
you
you,
don't.
the thing that really fucks with you, though, is about, like, so the day before that job, I went to Jewel and bought 2 cans of soup. 2 cans of Campbell's Chunky Soup. Like, it was like beef stew and then chicken tortilla. And when I do bio jobs, what I do is I take all the toilet paper and cleaning supplies and dish soap and I keep it. That's just what I do. So I check cabinets.
Yeah.
And the only thing in this motherfucker's cabinets was the exact same 2 cans of soup I bought the day before. Do you know how that fucks with you over the years when you just think about
That's
it?
what gave you PTSD?
I'm saying that's a funny. that's one thing you walk away from, but there's a lot of other shit that's like hard, you know, that I'm gonna not go into because it's just not. You don't need to.
Man, it's so depressing that someone, first of all, that people either kill themselves or they OD, and then that someone else has to go clean up and is probably underpaid to do so. And even if you think you're not underpaid, like you should be getting like $500 an hour because you're subjecting yourself to some mental distress that no one can
The
comprehend.
industry doesn't really see it that way, but yes.
Oh, well, the industry. There's an industry for people who die and hit their heads off the wall?
Yeah. I'm a representative of it.
Oh, man.
It was
Dead stuff, dead people.
it's
man.
it's a fascinating world, and the PTSD, and I have a friend who also did it, and like literally he a few weeks ago he was like, "Hey, do you ever get nightmares from doing that stuff still?" I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, I just have to. He's like, I just couldn't sleep. I keep having this cleaning it up. I'm like, yeah, you have PTSD probably. I'm
He
like,
couldn't. So it's more like
if he
like-
fell asleep,
like-
he would
like-
be in the cleaning.
So like, would you have that before sleeping, or only when you were sleeping?
What?
Like,
No, he had nightmares.
but
My
would you
friend-
have them?
I recently had a nightmare about it.
Would that stuff? Would you only?
It
have
wasn't
while
even
sleeping?
a nightmare.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't even a night. It was more of like I woke up and was like, oh, that was a dream, and I'm like, man, I still follow protocol. Like, you know, it was like weird. Like, you know, it's just.
How do you, if you don't mind me asking, how do you know when you have PTSD?
I knew when they locked me up and told me.
No, but you keep laughing at stuff that's not funny. I'm only laughing because you're making me laugh. Just so we know.
You're allowed to laugh. You should laugh.
It's not funny though.
It is funny. I don't care.
Oh,
I
Jesus.
I don't care. I find it funny.
Wait, how?
I find it
What
funny
about
now.
before you got? Wait, don't say locked up. Say like committed to a.
They put me in John Madden mental health hospital.
John Madden, like the football announcer?
Yes, he has a mental health hospital that's a government-run facility. So shitty.
Come on, John Madden.
Yeah, I know.
Do you have video games? I played your video games when I was
Yeah.
a kid.
You got
Step
enough
it up.
money?
Step up the mental institution, please.
Dude, for snacks, it was so under budget, and like I couldn't sleep there. I was so paranoid of sleeping because it's like it's half people that are. We had one guy that was there because he OD'd on heroin, and they brought him in a ambulance, and they're like, "Your problem for a few days." It's all these people that are somebody like the people that work there. It's pretty much they come, they drop them off, and they go, "Your problem for 5 to 3 weeks." And I was 7 days. I was a 7-day problem because I was.
You have no choice in it.
No, you have no choice. You have no choice.
What? That's got to mess with your head, knowing you don't even have a choice.
Yeah, it's pretty aggravating.
Yeah.
It was really aggravating.
Especially when like what put you there wasn't your fault either. Like it was
Right.
it was an exterior cause like that did that to you.
Yeah. And then like it was
When was this?
4 years, 3 years ago,
3 years ago.
something like that. I don't know.
And so before you were committed, how'd
2
you
years
even
ago.
end up there?
2 years ago. I was driving to go get a haircut, and then I told my friend, he's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm going to get a haircut, but first I'm going to stop at Payless Heights Police Department because the mob's after me, of course." And he's like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then he's like, "I'm like, don't worry, I'm being safe. I took out $100,000 life insurance policy and put it in my ex-wife's name." I'm like, because I was like convinced there was some mob stuff. So if like I died and the money went to her, that there would be an investigation was the thought, even though that's not true. That was complete mental fabrication. I did a bio job the day like a week before that like boom triggered me super hard into paranoia. I thought I was bugged. I thought everybody was watching me. And then
So before that
before I
bio
got
job,
committed.
no, before the bio job, there was no.
I was a little rocky.
Oh, rocky?
So it's like I'm bipolar type 1. So it's a
I don't
sick.
know what that means.
So it's bipolar people tend to fall into bipolar type 1 people tend to not be like depressed, but more manic. It's the more manic one, hallucinations, auditory hallucinations, stuff like that. And it's a cyclic thing. So it's like every 3 to 4 months before I could really have a good handle. I have a very good grasp on it now. And before that, you can't tell what's real or not. You know what I mean? You're talking to like light bulbs and buildings, like, and then people are like, "Why are you talking to the wall?" And they're like, "You just don't understand it."
So in your reality,
In my reality,
that wall,
was talking.
it was talking. The wall itself, or was there someone there?
No, the wall itself. The building is talking.
Now, knowing you, we'll
So
call it 25 years
Uh-huh.
of life that wasn't a thing, so you can't go back on that baseline in your mind, like
What do you
knowing
mean?
like walls don't talk.
your reality's different.
Okay.
It changed. You know what I mean? You enter into.
I'm only asking these
It's
out
a-
of curiosity because I don't know.
It's like shrooms.
Oh shoot!
It's
But
like,
real.
Yes, and you're sober.
Oh.
And you're sober, trying to navigate life, and like bright, vibrant, moving, magic happening. People's hands like speaking to you in 3 different languages.
Has there been tests on or studies on the brain chemistry, one on a psychedelic and the brain chemistry when you're bipolar? Like, is there the same gateways in the brain
Yeah.
misfiring and opening, stuff like that?
No, I think it's a serotonin thing.
Okay.
Something's going on with that, and then that's as smart as I get.
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, you're
People would ask me what medication I'm on, and I just go, the one that my doctor put me on. They're like, "Yeah, but what's it called?" I'm like, "I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't care. It works. Whatever." You know what I mean?
Do you still have to take that?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
But like, all that went away because of the medication?
No, it's manageable. Is what happens. So sometimes I get super paranoid, and I'll be like, "Nobody's sending me any pictures of pie." Like, like that's literally what I was like. Nobody talk about math. Nobody say the number 3, please, for like a week.
Pie.
Yeah,
Why pie?
because I'm obsessed with it. It's like one of my trigger points to go.
Still
into.
are?
Well, I just love it now. It's a part of the past, kind of. You know what I mean?
What about the food pie? Like eating the
I like
dessert?
that. All of it's all good. It's all good, man.
That's wild.
It's like it's living in like 2 realities at the same time. And I talked to a psychiatrist about this. It's a friend of mine. She's like the part. It's addicting. The psychosis is addicting.
Is it?
Oh yeah. Because for like when you're at the top, you're like it's like you're like in your mind you're just like no one's ever been here before, but we've like it's like I have to tell everybody about how amazing this shit is. You're talking like I was like thinking I was talking to Einstein through like like raindrops and shadows. Like how do you explain that, and why do you want to give that up? It's hard. And in fact, when they talk about like people with like schizophrenia, bipolar, borderline personality, they'll refer to you feeding into your manifestations is relapsing. It's the same as drugs. Because it's like it almost takes the same like emotional and mental toolbox to say no to addiction as it does to like be like these red numbers are fucking after me. I know it. And it's like, wait, red numbers. Most people don't agree that red numbers can come after you. And then it's like you have to like really
You always try to go back to a baseline.
yeah, and so pie for me is a good baseline for how excited I get about it, because I think like I get like I went on a whole for 4 years. My manic thing was based around me thinking I found the last digit of pi. You know,
But it's infinite.
right? But I mean, I even have a tattoo of like the number value that I can't find any information on. Oh, I'm excited, but not like weird excited.
Have you ever talked to like a mathematician at all?
I did one time during a very hypermanic. Oh, and I walked into the Fermi lab and then got escorted out by a military member and 2 police officers. They asked me to leave because
Yeah.
I tried talking to theoretical physicists, and I was just like, pi ends, right? And they're like, not here, buddy.
Not in this reality, it doesn't. Wow, Brendan, that is. Can we talk more about
Yeah.
mental health? Because
Yeah, go
that's a
ahead.
serious conversation. It's a huge problem in this
Yeah,
in this reality,
get how
in this
people
world, and
become
in this
homeless.
planet. Yeah, no,
There's
I
a
do
comic
too.
in Chicago that was homeless that's bipolar type 1, and he's had a much more extreme handle with it than I have.
So there's like anything. There's different levels of bipolar type 1.
It's a spectrum of disease as well.
Right.
Yeah.
And what's bipolar type 2?
Bipolar type 2 is so they're the thing that they have to be more careful with, it seems like everyone's different, blah blah blah, but is the depression cycle. So they're more like, I'm more likely to go into the fucking loopy one, and like the fast talking, like you know, like we gotta figure the panic mode, stuff like that. That's up here. Theirs goes low,
Goes low.
and it tends to be more baseliney. It's called hypomania, and then like depression. So they'll hit hypomania, but they won't hit full mania.
Okay.
I hit full mania if it's not regulated, but I don't really get. I'll only go into depression after an extreme mania, because then I have to fucking pick up the consequences. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could set everything on fire. I could set everything I work for on fire within a matter of 3 days, like I have. Like, you know what I mean?
What do you mean?
Before I got committed, I said everything. I had a great job. I was working, and it was like boom, that gone, all gone within a week and a half.
You didn't actually set something on fire?
No.
Okay. I thought you meant you actually set the.
But no, I thought like there, like, you know, I was like telling everybody that there's a slave trade in restoration and blah blah blah, and they're like doing human trafficking here, and but like major conspiracies. I tried I remember one time I took a bag, this silver bag, right, that I got from a FedEx store that triggered it, and she's like, just take this snack, and I was like, okay, and I thought it was murder evidence. So I kept going to police stations going like, this is murder evidence. They're like, we can't take that. I'm like, somebody's got to take it. And they're like, what town is it in? And I'm like, I don't remember. They're like, well, take it to whatever town you think the murder is in. I'm like, it's their problem. Nobody would take it, which fed into my paranoia.
Oh my god.
And then after I get out and like a month goes by, I'm like, I wonder what was in that silver bag that I still have. I open it up. It's mint chocolate chip flavored popcorn. I'm like, but he's like, you see how it's just like, I'm trying to even keep up with what you're saying?
Yeah.
That's like we're just like, yeah, me too. Like,
Wow. When did this start happening to you?
Probably when I was like 23.
Anything in particular?
Actually, probably when I was 16.
Oh, wow.
16 was when it probably started.
That's a big difference.
But you don't realize it.
It's subtle.
Kind of, you know, everyone's just like, yeah, if it's just like, yeah, you're always like that.
Is there something that set it off?
No, it's just how it kind of works.
It's usually when it starts happening, right? Like late teens, when there's a severe mental illness that starts to occur. 16, 17, 18, 19.
And then it was, I don't really know. But it was like people started to go like everybody collectively. They're like, That's a real problem. Not just goofy, quirky, kind of, you've always been that way.
Yeah.
It was like 23, 24.
Okay.
When they're like, that's a major personality change.
Yeah.
So it was, I don't know.
Your parents have anything like that?
Yeah, it runs in my family.
Okay.
My uncle was bipolar or whatever. Well, my dad today, he goes, now I get my brother. He's like, he was bipolar. He was like you. He's like, it makes much more sense now.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, now he feels bad because it was just like, man, I was like you know,
He might have not
pretty
been the best.
understanding of what I was going through. Granted, I had no idea. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I just like retaliated back with the same force of fire, you know, with a lack of understanding, lack of awareness, everything like that. But you know, after my uncle passed, and then we all as a family figured it out. I could tell he felt bad especially for his brother.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
From like father to son, it doesn't bother me what happened. You know what I mean? With everything, it's just like how it is.
And back to when you were committed to John Madden's, what do you call it? A mental institution?
Mental health hospital.
Mental health hospital. It sounds better.
Yeah, they really sold it to me too. They're like, "You're gonna like it," and I'm like, "Really?"
Why would anybody like it?
I know. And then you know what was weird? I was like, "Can you smoke there?" And then the ambulance driver, the EMT people, because they don't give shit. You know what I mean? You're just a Amazon package they have to drop off. They're like, he's like, "Yeah, I think you get like one a day." Just to shut me up.
You just said something.
Yeah, it was like, "Can you smoke cigarettes in there?" Yeah, one a day. I don't know. Get the fuck out.
Oh my god.
And I'm going in there. It was like, he said one a day. He said one a day.
Adding to the problem. And you're like, this is a thought I've always thought about. How do you get out of a place like that? How does a doctor know? And how do you know
You
when
have to
you're okay?
kind of make a case for yourself or act in line. Some people. So there is a question that sometimes happens that people get stuck in the cycle. They go, how many times have you been committed, and how many times have you talked yourself out of being committed?
Ooh.
When you really should have. And I go 3-1. So I think 3-2. I talked myself out of 2 commitments. But
You yourself or someone else?
Me myself. While I was manic.
Okay.
And it was there because it's like it's basically you're allowed to be manic in public, but can you control it? And are you a harm to anybody? So if it's determined, it takes one person to decide if there's any possible for harm for themselves or others. So if you can make a case where it's just like, I'm a little goofy right now, but it's fine. You know, if you can make that case that you're not gonna hurt yourself or others, you'll be okay. You might be okay. You might. I don't know.
Would you say a lot of hardcore drug users tend to get into that predicament because of having those types of mental illnesses that go undiagnosed or unhelped, untouched?
Yeah, there's a specific term for that that's called dual diagnosis. So if there's a mental health issue along with a substance abuse issue, it has to be treated in a certain route. Usually you have to get the person sober and then evaluate the evaluation of the mental health to see what's affecting what, you know what I mean? So they got to be off everything, then they have to be evaluated. Then they have to be kept sober,
Which is hard.
It can be hard, yeah, because a lot of bipolar people, especially with the mania, a lot of them drinking drinking works to shut it up. Because you can feel it coming and you can go, oh, I better slam this so I just fall asleep and wake up and have only inched towards the crazy instead of entered it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now that I've been sober for a year and a half. Everything, yeah. And then Illinois decided that. Brennan Weaver didn't decide that. Illinois gave Brennan Weaver a choice.
Oh, they told you?
Yeah, they gave me a choice.
What happens if you aren't? There's no more coffee.
Yeah, I got nothing to distract us with.
I'm sorry if that was too much of a question.
No, it's just private.
No, I got you.
Yeah.
No worries. Gotcha. Man, that's heavy. But it's real. And thank you for sharing that. By
Oh,
the
no
way.
problem.
Because people need to hear that it could be anybody,
Yeah.
and it could be someone you love. It could be your kid. It could be your friend. It could be your husband, your wife. It could be your grandpa. Like, they're still people, and it leads to things like suicide and drug addiction or homelessness.
Oh, yeah.
I always say,
I always thought I was very far away from it. I'm telling you, I was very close to all of it.
well, based on what you
At
told
one
me,
time.
it sounds like it. Yeah.
It was like having to recover from that fucking maelstrom that I just like set my life on fire.
Yeah.
Like literally, the damages to my life was probably about $35,000, and I was 27, 28 at the time. That's a pretty big fucking hit for a 27 and 28-year-old
Yeah.
to fucking come back from
Yeah.
after something one that the courts don't see as what would it be, unintentional. You know what I mean? So it'd be like it's like self-defense or whatever. I didn't do anything like bad.
Right.
It's just, you know.
Why is there not more funding for this stuff? Why is it? I'm not trying to compare these things, but why is mental health, physical health, and the arts just kind of like, let's just like not care about it. Let's not put funding in it. I get there should be funding in science. In fact, there should be more funding in it. But like mental health,
I think there should just be more information because it's actually free to get a psychiatrist in the county of DuPage, which, I was like talking to a psychiatrist. He's like, you can get my services for free. You just have to wait a month to get them if you want to do it. And he's like,
see, that's
DuPage is,
messed up though. A
Yeah.
month. What if you need it? You need it now,
then you can buy it now.
but not buying. That's the problem.
You can go on goodrx.com and get a very affordable prescription. It's it gets a little pricey. I don't. That's the whole thing. It's just like, how motivated are you to get help and go to therapy?
What if you're low income?
You find a slide scale. You can go start with self-help books. Be motivated enough to start something.
Yeah, but
You know?
is it easy to be motivated when you have bipolar and episodes of PTSD because of a job? Like,
It's not. You know. I don't know.
right?
I know. I went through it, and I'm like, I'm not even an advocate for it. I'm just like, I don't know. Everybody's on their own, dude.
Right. No, I get it. I'm just curious. I'm just,
Yeah.
man, I think there should be more. You're right. Better educated on it.
Yeah.
It should be. It's a hard subject, but life's hard. Like, it should be talked about in school. You should learn when you're a kid. Like, this happens to people.
And you got to think too. Like, how old was Bill Burr when he was a teenager or our age? I'm going into the specific example. Bill Burr's a comic.
I think he's in his early 50s.
He tells a story about, he's like, I remember this funny work story. I don't know if it's funny now because we didn't have the term alcoholic yet.
Yeah.
But that guy got fired and left his jacket, and we made a sculpture of him out of cardboard boxes and kept it in the back because it was funny.
Yeah.
And he's like, is that funny today? Probably not. He was an alcoholic, but we didn't know at the time that that's what you call that.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, we're making progressions. This podcast is, we talked about bipolar 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I
I mean, that's what I'm trying to do. Trying to understand things and spread more ideas and kind of, it just, if I knew that I'd be taxed an extra 1%, 2%, and everyone would, but like there'd be better and free facilities for mental health to help people and get better rehabilitation, better free medication, better wellness.
Yeah.
Like, who would be opposed to that? Because that makes a healthier and better society. Then you don't walk around Michigan Avenue seeing people begging for money because they have a mental illness and they're homeless.
Yeah. And, I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. It's that's why I don't want a Bentley. If I had the money to Bentley, I'd rather just donate to help somebody. Like, well, why do I can just drive a Honda Civic. I don't need the Bentley.
I'll take it still. Let's get a smaller house or something, like a couple square feet off it.
Man. Yeah, mental health.
2,000 instead of a 22.
At 2,000?
2,000 square feet instead of a 22,000. I'm just kidding. I don't know. I just have no sympathy for it anymore.
Sympathy for what?
My own issue, I guess, anymore.
I mean, that's, yeah.
I think that's now a survival thing, though. You know what I mean? It might be. I have no idea.
That could be.
Really?
To get through it, you have to just be like...
You know what helped? Here's what I'll say. You know what helped me the most going through the whole thing was having good friends.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
That was really it.
No, you're right. The going through hard stuff, whether it's that, I mean, I'm not comparing it, but that,
I met my best friend Ariel during this process, and probably if she wasn't there, and then like other people like TJ, Chris, Brad, blah blah blah, everybody else. Sorry if I didn't name you.
yeah.
Like if they weren't there, I probably would still be there.
Oh, okay.
You know, it was little shit. It was just like, it was like if I tie the bag of garbage, will you take it out? It's my garbage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was stuff like that. If I watch you clean that dish, will you clean it? Yes. You know, it was just completely.
It adds up, though.
It fucking yeah. I mean, I couldn't I was so defeated at one point. You know what I mean? And it was like, you know, it was like, can you please watch me wash the dishes so I know that I can complete it. You know what I mean? Can you watch me take the clothes from the washer to the dryer because it's down 2 flights of stairs and that seems like an eternity right now? You know what I mean? It was just that's all it was. It was don't for me. I was like, you know, don't fucking say anything. Don't fucking do blah blah blah. Like, you know, if you want to say something funny, have a good time, fine. But I just need to know that I'm cleaning this, you know, or whatever. That's where it was. And you know, that was it. That I'm thankful for. I mean, the friendship was better than any social service that I got.
Yeah.
You know,
Good friends and good family. They're the ones who could really make a difference.
at
on a
least
small
one of
level.
them. You need one of them.
One of them, both of them, hopefully.
Yeah, the more
Not everyone
the more
has
the
that.
better. Right.
And
Right.
during this time, the last 9 months, coronavirus, like not having people not being able to be around people when they're going through stuff, it's devastating.
You want to know something crazy? What happens in Chicago in the winter that I was talking about was the homeless population of comics that signed up for mics just so they could go inside it and sit there the whole time the mic is during the winter. And it's like put your name on the list, say you're here, just sit in the corner, go up if you want. Do you want a beer? And they're like, just leave me alone. I'm warm. You know. It was part of the hustle, the homeless hustle, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
And now they don't have that 5 to 6 extra hours of warmth.
Yeah.
So what happens there?
Yeah.
That got heavy.
No, I mean, the homelessness issue
Yeah.
in this country is awful. It's awful anywhere in the world.
Yeah. And that was I was a dick to a homeless person one time. I didn't know they were homeless. I don't know. I had a fucking attitude when I was 23 about shit. So and then I found out and I was like mean or I like made fun of him on stage or something like that before I knew anything. And then I ended up like apologizing. And the guy was super nice about it. You know what I mean? And it's like that might be why too I'm not sympathetic towards myself is because I've done so many fucking shitty things too.
Yeah, but
you know what I
but you
mean?
can
I've learned that it's just like, man, I messed up a goof ton.
Yeah, but you can learn from that,
Right.
and you clearly have.
You know.
I mean, you seem 100% right now. I would never know any of that,
Right.
and which means, I mean, like you said, sober for a year and a half. I'm sure that helps a lot.
Yeah, definitely lined up a couple things for other things to be successful
Yeah,
for sure.
I
Needed it.
mean,
I think it needed to happen.
drugs and alcohol, they're a dangerous slope, and they're unfortunately only meant for people who know how to handle it well, because it could lead to some serious problems. Even if
Yeah.
you don't even have like a traditional or clinical mental illness, you know, it could lead to stuff like that. It could lead to depression, dependency. It can
Yeah.
create stuff that isn't there if you just let it get out of hand.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't know. It's weird, like, now that I'm older, it's just like, where it's like you can see, like, people like 5 years younger than you or anything like that. It's almost like you can just read them like a book. And, like, opinions or the denial. Especially, like, you can, like, someone that's younger than you can pick up on whatever their denial is, like, so well. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do. It's why, like, parents, when we were kids, they always could, like, pick out the good and bad kids. They'd be like, don't hang out with them. I don't like that kid. And you're like, well, you don't know when you're like 10. You're like, don't stay the night at that person's house anymore.
Yeah.
Like, all they did was pick you up from their house. And they just like, they could read. They just, too much experience. That's
Yeah.
what I was saying, 98 years
Like,
old.
Don't hang
Wisdom.
out with that kid. He keeps rocks in his pockets for no reason. It's too many pocket rocks.
Too many Sometimes they're wrong, but a lot of times parents, they have
Right.
20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years of experience. And they're just like, they've seen it. They've been around the block. They hung out with that type of person before. And they're just like, be careful around that person, you know? Like, it's
For sure.
That's why I said, like, I'm at my peak when you're old because you got all that wisdom, that life experience. You know so much.
What's the over-under that you might get detached, though, where it's not useful? You know what I mean?
At the core
Uh-huh.
of life and existence, it is. Maybe not relevant to pop culture, obviously. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't even know what's going on in pop culture right now.
Yeah,
and I'm
it's hard.
31.
It's hard.
But, like, as far as the fabric of existence and human connection and people and what makes people tick and what makes you happy, you know it all at that age. That's why you're
Okay.
peaceful, chilling, rocking in a chair, looking at the lake.
Yeah,
And nothing to prove. You realize there is nothing to prove.
true.
And
And
you're
you
just-
feel the way you feel.
You feel the way you truly are present at those ages because every moment counts because you're can die at any second.
Have you watched the Midnight Gospels?
Yeah,
How fucking great is that
I love
show?
that. I like
oh my
Duncan
God.
Trussell a lot. It's hilarious.
I do too. I like Duncan. I don't like his podcast because it's a little too just like, you just gotta big words that I'm trying to mush in a small space, and it's like, all right, Duncan, just let them talk or something. Like
I know what you're saying.
like the Midnight Gospel was a nice show because it took everything you love about Duncan Trussell, presented it forward, and then they're like, yeah, we're gonna clip a little bit off that, so just give you a little
Yeah,
trim.
it's a
Duncan.
good show.
It was like solid. That prison episode with the time loop, best episode. That was profound.
I enjoy listening to people who, especially like, I don't want to be preachy about psychedelics, but I enjoy like hearing people talk about it, just getting different experiences because it's such a
Yeah,
fascinating thing that occurs to people, you know?
Yeah.
That you can occur if you take them. As you know, you've taken them, so you know.
Yeah.
And then what you've experienced in your own reality without taking them.
yeah.
You know,
it is an interesting. You know what else is weird too is like some people like only take like enough psychedelic for what they like where it's just like, yeah, that's appropriate, an appropriate amount, and it's like weird having like a kind of a background where it's just like just eat the whole bag,
Yeah.
and it's like and then panic for like 3 hours.
But I don't get the panic if I ever take anything.
I do. I always panic.
I think it depends on the person.
Yeah.
Maybe you panic because of what your brain chemistry already.
That's true.
That probably
I
is
used to
why.
not panic, and then later in life, I'm like the last 2 times that I've done it, it's just been a panic.
How long ago?
I don't want to disclose that.
Okay. I feel you. It never happened.
Right. This is what is it?
Theoretical.
A reciprocal? Was it?
What?
I said the wrong word. Theoretical.
Theoretical situation.
This is a hyperbole.
I always think it's funny when
What's a hyperbole? Before we move on,
hyperbole.
Yeah.
Isn't it when you kind of like overemphasize kind of sarcasm?
I'm literally asking you.
I
don't know.
I'm pretty sure hyperbole is when you kind of overemphasize the wrong part of something and or are sarcastic about something that's not truly part of the situation or the circumstance or the definition of something. To hyperbolize something.
I don't even understand that.
That's my
I'm sure
paraphrasing.
75% of this audience understood that. I'm part of the 25. Like, what?
I'm terrible
Yeah.
with spelling and grammar and writing, like just bad. It's the weakest part of my existence. I've always been bad with it, even like when I was tested and like because of the brain surgery I just mentioned earlier.
I didn't ask you to go into it, but I don't know anything about it.
I talked about it in the first episode I did with my friend Joe. Not too much. It's complicated and it's like it's my existence. It's like what I went through as a kid. But I went through a lot of tests and IQ tests and when I was 7 I went to the University of Chicago and was tested by
Oh,
doctors there.
cool.
And they were like, yeah, no, IQ was great and everything, but they're like but his reading, like everything else is really great.
Yeah.
But the reading is his verbal and reading is
Because of the
terrible.
eyes?
No, just the wiring of my brain, just the way I work, and like my ability to conceptualize things and understand things and put things together and have foresight and make sense of it is
you're
really well.
You color code everything, right? Don't you?
Synesthesia.
Yeah, you do the
Yeah.
synesthesia thing.
I didn't realize I had that until a speech class in college when a person was doing a speech on it
Yeah.
and would put up like a shape of a triangle of twos and there was like fives in there. And she's like, does anybody see anything with twos? And I like raised my hand. I was like, oh, I see the fives. And she's like, what? You're not supposed to be able to see those because I saw the color of it instead of the shape. And she was just like, and I was like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
And she's like, you should look into that. I was like, huh? And I went home and I was looking in. I was like, oh my God, it's all making sense the way I see time and calendars and shapes and inanimate objects and numbers and feel them. And it's weird. But
Do
like,
you assign personalities? Do you assign the personality? What kind do you have?
I don't know.
There's like fucking like 37.
I've never really
There's
looked.
like 76
I never really
of them.
looked into it because I'm just who I am, and I think I'm like here.
Yeah.
But it's definitely interesting because it helps me to organize and like be so proficient in organization and stuff because of that.
Right.
Because of being able to like see, I don't know, like conceptualize things beyond what is really there, and be able to make sense of time. Like I don't see time linear. I don't even see it as a flat circle. I see it as like this broken oval, and I could place everything in it. That's why I can keep track of times. Like March 2016, you brought all those posters. Like I remember that my whole life.
Yeah.
I know everyone I know's birthday. I know like dates about everything. Like I just remember all of it. And if I'm off, I'm only off by like a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's weird. And like numbers, I'm really good with numbers as well too. But I struggle really well. I struggle a lot with like words because I have dyslexia. And like things get jumbled about. Like I'll type, and I'll be good. And I'll look up everything. Everything. Like the is always HET, always. The is a 3-letter word that everyone knows how to spell and use, and I always type it backwards.
How'd you say it? I just
HET, het.
Oh, okay.
That's my the.
Okay.
And I have to fix it every time, and I still make mistakes. I'll double check 10 times and still have mistakes. I'm just like, what the heck?
Yeah.
It's weird.
I think
really weird.
Sometimes dude, reading fucking hurts me. Like I don't get it.
I mean, I
It's
can
hard.
I could read. It's
I
just
mean, I can read, but like the jumbling thing, I get that.
okay. You might have a form of it as well.
I get it. Like
You may have a form of it as well. But what I was getting at, I don't want to keep talking about me on this, but after the test, my mom brought that sheet from the psychologist from the University of Chicago, the IQ test, all the information she wrote, brought it to the principal at the school I went to, and the principal looked at it, had the actual information, the data from a scientist, and was still like, he'll be fine. There's worse kids than him. Get tutoring. The doctor was like, he needs to get tutoring in these things. I was 7. So that would have been a good time to get tutoring in language and in penmanship and in grammar. And instead, he was like, the school district was so poor at that time or bad at that time or low income at that time. They're like, there's worse kids. He'll be fine.
I mean, it might just be a budget thing at that point.
It was, but like that should not be the case. If you get a piece of paper from a scientist that says this kid needs help, like the fact that they couldn't even do that and they're just like, he'll figure it out. You know, that shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
What you looking at?
I thought I saw a color change.
Oh yeah, I noticed notifications.
Caught my eye. Yeah.
But like that shouldn't happen. You know, I'm fine. I'm clearly functioning, but there's other kids who are worse, and like who are the notches below me that they didn't even get help? Like how low do you have to go to get help? How bad of a problem do you have to have with your mind before you finally get help from the school district?
I don't know.
You
My
know?
mom works in that kind of field, but she's like the one with behavioral problems where they can't be in a normal classroom.
Yeah.
A lot of them are like not 18, so they can't be diagnosed schizophrenic yet. But everybody's just like, they're schizophrenic for sure.
You can't be diagnosed schizophrenic until you hit 18?
Yes. I'm pretty sure that's what I've extrapolated through.
And she
I don't
deals
know.
with kids who have those issues?
Yep. Behavioral.
Does she ever say like, is it coming from genetics or is it from the house?
We don't talk about it.
Yeah.
It's just what she does. I just
Okay.
know what she does. You know?
Yeah. That's a hard thing to talk about, especially
Yeah.
seeing it in kids. That's heavy.
Right.
It's disturbing, especially because sometimes it really is because of the mom or dad and the stuff they did to the kids or their brothers or the cousins.
She probably gets a mix of both. She
Right.
also gets like autism, like severe autism, but still like dexterity and mobility wise, fine, not really a problem. But the autism that's like just learning or brain development. So I don't know how to say it the right way, the polite way, or whatever it is.
I think
Deep
what
in
you're
the spectrum.
I think what you're saying is fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's autism and Asperger's. I mean, it's hard. I mean,
think that's not even around anymore.
no?
Asperger's is like out.
Oh, I don't.
See, it's like,
I didn't get the memo. I don't know.
I know, right? That's
No
hard.
one told me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a hard one too because it's like I don't know what it is. It's confusing. What do you do with someone who's born? They seem fine. Then 2-3 years old, all of a sudden they start to develop that, and you could start to see it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have an answer, and
Nobody could have an answer.
yeah, and it bothers me when people throw it around willy nilly too. Like if you're just a little weird, like myself, I'm being called.
Yeah.
I've been called Asperger's, autistic, quite enough to where I'm like, I'm functioning just fine. I think
Yeah.
I don't have those problems. Not that they're problems, but I don't think I have that mental disability or the development issue. I don't think
You
so.
laugh though.
I
You know what I mean? Like you get humor, you get body language. Like, isn't that like one of the things?
I don't know.
We might just sound like idiots right
Listen,
now, though.
I don't
no
think we're
idea.
listen. We're not psychiatrists,
Right.
and we're not behavioral psychiatrists or child development psychologists. So like, what do people expect from us? We're just talking anecdotally and like with our experiences in life.
Yeah.
And my experiences being a slightly strange person and being called things, and you with your experiences, we're just talking about what we like. This is what I went through. Like no one can tell me I
Yeah.
didn't. So like this is what it
Right.
is.
Right.
And I don't know if the terminology's changed. That seems to keep happening enough to where you just gotta be told like, oh, you don't say that anymore. It's like, oh, I didn't know that. Okay,
Right.
now I know. Yeah, it's again.
I actually kind of find it fun
What?
at this point. The constant changing terminology. And they're like, oh, sorry. Update.
Oops.
It's like our brains are turning into iTunes.
We
have
should get
to
the updates with the phone. You know, like stuff pops up for update. You should check it, and it tells you like new word you can't use. You know, like
Oh,
I have the
yeah.
word of the day. You know,
That'd be kind of fun.
it's just we should be an app.
Maybe that's where the country's divided. It's the people that find it fun and the people that just can't do it.
Man, this country. What's going to happen in next week? Or the next 2 weeks?
I don't know.
Apparently, our
Fucking-
president's been impeached twice.
Yeah.
Third time's a charm. No,
I get it. Is there enough time for that even?
I don't know what's going to happen.
I don't even know. I should have just voted for the guy with the fucking boot on his head.
Oh, what a predicament we were put in.
Was that Vermin Supreme?
I don't know. That sounds like a meal.
I think. Yeah, I was like, fuck.
What's the how's the comedy scene been impacted?
Dead or it's
Wait, that was a crazy transition.
the weird thing is some people do Zoom shows, comedy shows,
Oh,
which is
no.
a whole nother animal.
Yeah.
Some people like it, and I think it's because they like it because I don't know. I was around enough and I get paid to do this now, and it's something. Blah blah blah.
Sorry. I was so hoping you didn't say anything funny because that I almost went down the wrong pipe
Uh-huh.
and I almost spit it out.
Oh, okay.
And if you would have said something funny, that would have been bad.
Over.
I would have covered you in my spit water in this microphone as well.
Okay.
Yeah, Zoom. It's hard enough doing Zoom classes. Like I teach and I did Zoom classes today. It's challenging.
I'm sure.
But to do like, and then there's people who do like music, Zoom shows, and that's its own thing. Because like when you're at a place watching a band play, and you feel the music hitting your chest, and you see everyone dancing, moving around, swaying, closing their eyes, sticking up their hands, clapping, whatever, that goes away. At a comedy show, the comedian reacts to the laughter. You read
Right.
the room, the space, the vibe, the joke, the pacing, the timing, the execution, all based on laughter and the space, the acoustics
The
of the room.
feedback.
The feedback. And to not have that, I mean, that happens in music, but it's less because you can get that from each other. You can get feedback. You look at your bandmate and get feedback from that.
Right.
It definitely helps when you look at the crowd and they're dancing and singing your song or moving to it or swaying and rocking with the rhythm. That feeds back and you can get you to jump and kind of get into it more. And then they like that you're into it. And this relationship, it's symbiotic. But with comedy, it's like to the extreme.
Yeah.
It's probably the only art form that's like that extreme where like you need to have the crowd there.
Some argue when you don't. and they're trying to be.
They argue that you don't need it.
Yeah, with the Zoom, they're
Oh.
like, it's fine, it's fine.
Well,
have
they're
fun."
just
And
trying.
It's like,
I mean, you're grasping at
I'm like,
straws.
at the same time, I was like, yeah, I mean, if you're as a performer, prospectively having fun with it, then you're right. There is nothing wrong with it. If I wouldn't call it the same experience of being a stand-up show. You know, I mean, and I guess they are differentiating it. They're not calling it a comedy show. They're calling it a Zoom comedy show or a comedy show on Zoom. Everybody, it's like you know what it is. You know.
Well, do you think this summer we can have it? It'll be back in the
don't know.
outside stuff.
I don't know.
If we can, let's do an outside one in the backyard this summer.
You want to?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, everybody should be fine with that.
Well, I mean, if we can, like, I would only do it if it follows every guideline, law, and ethical code. But if we can, like, let's do it. Even if it's like you can do it as long as everyone wears masks and the chairs are 6 feet apart, or you could do a pair 6 feet, something like that.
Yeah.
And we could do it.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
What else
should
are we
have
supposed
enough
to do
room
this
to
summer?
have everybody 6 feet apart.
It's an acre of land,
Right.
so. Yeah, that's what I'm worried about most.
It's not like you
that.
proposition booking Duncan Trussell for it, so I think we'll be fine.
Don't worry, we're gonna get some people.
Okay.
We're gonna get some people. Who knows? Maybe we could get someone kind of big because it's like there's nothing else to do.
Yeah.
And if we could be like, do you think comedians would like perform for free? We can put all the money towards like a huge headliner. Is that a thing in comedy? I don't know how.
Turns out it does cost about $10,000. By the way,
I know.
yeah,
I know.
I'm friends. I could talk to my friend Mark, who was trying to get Doug Stanhope. So I don't know.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely going to be at least $10,000 for like the people we're thinking of. Because they got managers and publicists and agents.
If you
and
want
travel.
if you want me to try and explore a conversation with them about Doug Stanhope, I will.
We'll
They
figure
were
it out.
supposed to be here either September or October.
It probably would be easiest to get a bigger comedian from Chicago, like, I don't know, just someone who's like here, the way they don't have to travel far. It'd probably save money because the flights and stuff, that's especially some weird backyard DIY thing. They're like, I'm not going to fly to Midway Airport for that.
There's plenty of people. There's plenty of headliners to book. It's just if you want a name on the the poster with the credits and stuff like that. There's people that are
We'll talk about it off air.
fucking
We'll get to it.
great. Okay.
Yeah. But we're going to do it. Those listening and watching, we're going to have comedy this summer.
Sweet.
Somehow.
Somehow, some way.
Some way we're going to do it.
You're gonna build like those weird bubbles.
No. That's so interesting. I've seen those at restaurants and stuff.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. I mean, I guess it works, but it's like
Technically,
it
do I want that experience?
seems very it almost seems like very hip. Like it's kind of cool. Like it's
If you do it right and you have the right land, you could totally get away
just
with
bubbles everywhere. It would look so crazy
Yeah.
out there.
it. There's pictures going out of it being successful. It looks pretty. I don't really give a shit about any of that stuff.
Segway. Do
Yeah.
you believe in aliens?
Kind of. So it's like
That's a good answer.
technically, I try and practice being an joyful, optimistic nihilist. I practice that. It doesn't mean I have to be strict about it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like I tend to. My baseline is to view something as a nihilist, and then go from there situationally. And do I want to believe in aliens? Yeah. Do I believe in aliens? Probably more than I believe in, I don't even I don't know. I don't believe in reptilians are ruining the planet. You know what I mean? I don't think that.
The lizard people are ruining it.
Yeah, I don't believe in like
it.
mole people. I don't know if I believe in Atlantis. I don't know. But aliens seems like the most likely.
It's definitely very likely, given the numbers.
In terms of like room for it. Yeah,
There's a little space out
there's
there.
a lot of and it depends on what you consider an alien. Is a single cell organism an alien? Technically.
Yeah, I mean, there's
Is
certain
it-
things that come off meteorites.
I mean,
from
how
to here.
would it be an alien if two astronauts, if we got on Mars, two astronauts bone, had a baby? Is that baby coming back to Earth an alien? It's not from Earth. It's human.
No, by definition, I guess not. But I'm thinking of someone from a different planet that
Right.
isn't of our DNA, our human.
I mean,
DNA.
technically, don't they? There has to be only like one singular evolutionary trait if people live on Mars that separates them from Earth, right?
If people lived on Mars,
Yeah.
like if humans went there.
I'm saying like where it's like Neanderthal versus Homo sapien.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? There's not much difference.
Yeah.
So how 300 years living on Mars, is that an alien species now, or is it still adopted?
I personally wouldn't think it is, but
I have
I
no
mean,
idea.
by definition, it could be.
I don't know.
But definitions are there's some loose. You can
Words are
finesse
silly.
it. We're just silly.
Words
Humans are silly. It's kind of funny. We're like, we could do so many cool things. We could live anywhere. We could adapt to so many crazy crap. We
Yeah.
could think of so much. We could make microphones and project it onto the internet for all the people to watch us in HD.
Yeah.
But we can't figure out how to help the homeless guy down the street. We can't figure out our presidency and how
There's too many
not to storm
problems.
the Capitol. Like, we can't figure these things out, apparently.
Yeah.
That was a sight to see.
The Capitol?
And I watched, like, most of that happen live.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, by
man.
chance, I was recording a friend of mine, a solo artist, and he was leaving, and I'm walking up the stairs, and my roommate's just like, dude, some crazy stuff's going on. It's like 1:30 in the afternoon last Wednesday. I'm like, what? I go in the living room back here, and I'm watching it. I'm like, what the heck? And it was before, like, they, like, just breached.
Yeah.
They just were showing photos of, like, the Capitol Police pointing their handguns.
Is this like their, like, is it like, because you know how, like, in, like, the major world, where everybody, they go, where were you when JFK was shot? Where were you during 9/11? Is that this generation's where were you when the Capitol got, do you think?
I think it's hard to say. It takes hindsight to know that. It takes
Yeah.
time to know the significance of it, but it's quite significant because there's like really only one or two cases ever this has happened. Not even like this either.
Yeah.
I know that in the 1950s, there's Puerto Rican nationalists, I believe, that went in there and shot people, but I think it wasn't that many relative to tens of thousands. And then
Right.
I think in 1814, the British burned down the Capitol building, but I think they did that to the White House too.
But how information travels and the bombardment of it, today, would Gen Z see that as, like, where it's like, it was everywhere. It's all it was.
Maybe, but because
know?
there's so much
Yeah.
going on, it might not have as much of an impact because there's too much as an overload, circuit
That's true.
overload. Everything's always being shorted out,
That's true.
misfiring, and that's another issue. Like, I think you probably have the same problem I have with social media. Like, why you have a hard time promoting your artwork?
Uh-huh.
It's because you can't like get on the social media bandwagon of like just constantly pushing your stuff. It seems like
I don't
that.
like it.
Right. So,
I like pushing other people's stuff.
me too.
You know what I
I
mean?
try to do it as much as I can.
Yeah.
Music, art, just always.
It's more fun.
It's more fun. I think it's helpful. I think it's nice if someone else does it for you. That's what I like about the DIY community, like helping each other out, promoting, sharing this and that, like naturally, organically. No one's asking you to. No one said, Brennan, promote the podcast you're to be on today. But you did it
Right.
anyway because it was natural. It was authentic.
But you do. Yeah.
It's just you.
It's
You didn't even have to. I don't.
Right.
Not a lot of people have done it. The
Yeah.
other guests, I don't think they've done it. They've promoted after it comes out. They've shared it and stuff. But pre coming on, I don't know.
Pre-coming? How do you feel about that?
Um,
Any strong opinions on this pre-coming? Sorry.
How do I feel about it? I think it's natural.
That's true.
So
I always thought it was a little early, though.
anything that's natural, I'm
early.
kind of like, whoa, I'm fine with it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I don't. That's another thing. Like, sex should be talked about a lot more in school and like promoted in a healthier way, and not this weird like taboo thing because it just creates a weird problem. If there's gaps in the mind when you're not told something when you're 15, and you got your mind's crazy at that age, you want to fill that void.
Yeah.
and things get weird if you just aren't explained things. You have to fill the void, and it's bad. That's the only downside of religion. Religion has a lot of great points, a lot of camaraderie, a lot of good gestures, good things to do with people and how to help each other and be there for each other. But then it has those weird pockets where they just kind of like, they kind of like,
I think
don't talk about this, don't do that. And then you're left to use your imagination, and that's when things can get a little dangerous,
Yeah.
you know?
I don't know. I mean, it's hard. I don't even know, like, if I have like an opinion on it.
On religion?
No, yeah, kind of. Because I'm just like, I don't care. Don't bother me.
Don't bother me.
That's my opinion on religion. It's like, don't bother me, and that's about it.
To each their own.
To each their own. Do what you do.
Don't be pushy. I agree.
Yeah.
No one You should want to fall into something or do something because you want to do it, because you find value in it.
Yeah.
You find peace in it. You find love in it, not because someone's telling you to do it or pushing it upon you.
Right. I'm like, you can be a born again and not be annoying.
You sure can. You could be a lot of things and not be annoying.
Yeah. Like you could, I don't know. I have no idea. I forgot what we were talking about. Sex. Yeah.
It not being talked about enough, or just not enough, but like properly. Instead of like, ooh, it's taboo to move. It's taboo in movies.
Yeah.
And you have like pornography.
Yeah.
Then you have like don't have sex before marriage. You have all these weird things, and it's like, why don't we just put them all together and have a conversation about it and like slowly talk about it? You know, you take health class your freshman year of high school.
Yeah.
And they barely talk about it, and it's awkward. Everyone's goofing
aren't they
around.
going to have to like step up their game because now that kids can carry around a pocket computer that can play porn?
They should definitely step it up, and it
You
should
know what I
start
mean?
young.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean.
Like it's like yep, nipples are real, kids, on everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, and then like well, not everybody, but it's like such a small percentage. Then
Who doesn't have people born without nipples? I'm sure.
yeah, there
it
has to be,
happens.
right?
You're people born without everything.
yeah, 3 nipples.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it should be. I mean, it's so natural. It is
Right.
why we're here, because our parents had sex at some point.
Yeah.
At some point, you know, they had to.
Probably.
Probably. That's how that works.
Yeah.
Man,
Somebody did.
it's been happening for quite some time now. If you didn't know, if you didn't get the memo.
It's like I think it's like I think we should probably if we did talk about sex more and presented normal things like the actual norm, body image stuff would be on its way to fixing itself.
Yeah, it'd be helpful
be.
promoting sexuality in a proper way, and promoting health in a proper way.
Teenage boys would probably work on their personalities a little bit more and self-confidence, so they don't have to be dicks
Some teenage
for
boys
that
are,
machacho
yeah.
shit.
Yeah, I
know
can't
what I-
stand the machacho stuff. It's it's still strange when you hear like. I find it strange when I hear women still saying like they want a man to be that way. I'm like, whoa.
I
really?
mean, they're allowed to.
They're allowed to. I'm
Totally-
just
totally allowed to.
baffled with like the state of how the world is now. It's interesting to hear that. You're like, oh, I wasn't expecting
Like
that.
with the welder lady when she said she's like I wear like the overall Dickie or Carhartt and stuff like that. It was like in my mind it was just like it's like it's just a normal thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It'd be like cool. Like I thought it was cool.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, you wear Carhartt?
yeah.
You know, like I want my girlfriend to wear a Carhartt.
I never had a Carhartt. I never
Yeah.
even heard of that until recently when I started seeing the little badge on people's clothes. I
You
was
know,
like,
it bothers me when somebody that like because it seems like there's 2 catalogs for Carhartt that comes out. There's the Carhartt catalog where it's the people that fix the roads.
you're really upset right
and
now.
I have a little bit of yeah.
You got closer to the mic and everything. You know what bothers me? You know, really
is
grinds
when-
my gears.
It really does when like there's this like every 4 years Carhartt becomes popular with the bohemian not working class. And it's like they're like it's just a jacket. It's like it's not just a fucking jacket. Take it off. You look like an idiot because you don't even know what a fucking Allen wrench is. Take the fucking thing off. Name 5 types of drills. I'll give you 2. DeWalt, rigid. Go from there. Do it. If you can't do it, you're not allowed to wear it.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying. I probably should be wearing those when I do work, like, you know, refinishing these floors and the walls.
Yeah.
Because all my clothes tear all the time because I just wear stupid crap that's not designed for that.
Yeah.
And I'm always doing like,
I do like that shirt, by the way.
Thank
Now that
you.
we're talking about design.
thank you. I like,
You like floral too, don't you?
I like just 2 things that gets me going with my clothes.
Uh-huh.
A, I just love like kind of chaos.
Yeah.
And B, I love how upset people get at the chaos.
The chaos.
Like clothes, when things are just mismatched and bright
Okay.
colors. And I genuinely enjoy it. I like the way it
2
feels.
patterns at once.
Any of it. I do
Okay.
none of patterns, colors, matching. None of it registers here,
Uh-huh.
and I just don't care. Like I just like the way things look for how they look. I don't in the morning. I don't even think about. It. I'm like shirt, pants. Like I don't. None of it matters.
I like the shirt.
Thank you.
And what is it? What's the pants that go with
Pants,
it? Burgundy.
like a burgundy maroon pants. Yeah.
That's how you got to do it.
But
You did a
I
bang
also
up
love
job.
how it bothers people. I think
How
it's
does
hilarious.
that bother somebody?
No, not this.
Oh, okay.
This can, but
Yeah.
like the mismatch, the weird, like the patterns, like the stripes going against each other. Some people
Uh-huh.
are just like, bothered by it, and
Hurts their brain.
it just makes me laugh. Like,
Yeah.
especially older people, there's like, what are you wearing weird clothes for? Why are you being like this? I'm like, that's you're making me want to wear this more. So just
Right.
keep saying it,
Right.
please.
Yeah.
It's just fun. I don't know. I've always kind of just dressed that way, and I enjoy it. It's just who I am, you know.
Yeah, I gotcha. It kind of got brought back. You're like, my prime is gonna be when I'm 98, living this peaceful life, and just going, why are you wearing that to the young folk? Like,
I'm never gonna say that.
You're never gonna do it.
I don't even care
You
what
don't
people
think
wear.
so?
I don't care what people wear.
Do you think you're gonna get the music, or you like?
Yeah, I keep up with music. I listen to.
Okay, that is like your thing. You're right. You're right. You're right.
Well, I just like all music because I'm like, okay, well, 100 years ago, it was like big band, a little bit of blues, some classical and jazz, and then like in Western world. I can't speak for what was going on in other worlds.
Is it kind of accurate to describe you? Like, this might not be the weird wording, but this is the vibe I get, and kind of like, like it's more of like, see where we're relating. Is like, when did you, in a sense, give up having an opinion and embracing being an observer of everything? You know, do you agree with that statement?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you think you agree with that?
I know what you're saying.
Okay.
I agree with it as much as I can.
It's very highbrow.
I know. That's why I'm saying. That's why I said the caveat was I agree with it as much as I can.
Right.
I know what you're saying. I can't 100% commit to agreeing with it, but I could be 93% there.
Okay.
It was a slow transition, but I've always been pretty okay with it my whole life. Probably because of always being a bit odd and like picked on.
Okay.
So I was always like always like the underdog. What you looking at?
I don't know. Sometimes it feels like there's like a thing that changes colors in here.
Yeah, all these lights behind you, they all change colors.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
like-
No, that's happening.
Sometimes it's just like, man, it feels like a little more blue.
That's why I did that.
Green, and I'm just like, I don't know if I'm tweaking out.
That's why I did that. I did that so the room is like breathing. It's always just flowing.
I'm over here going like, did I take my meds this week? God, fuck. Okay, just ignore it. I've been ignoring it for however long this has been going on.
2 hours and 2 hours and 45 minutes. Man,
Yeah.
that's hilarious. Okay, you made me cry.
With your opinion, so you're an observer in this realm.
So, I think always being a bit odd,
Yeah.
made fun of a lot because I wore a patch in my eye for 5 years, had bifocals, wore super hand-me-down clothes, was a weird kid.
Yeah. Okay.
And I just like built weird stuff when I was a kid, and I just was kind of to myself, just weird, right? So I was always picked on. So I always was like, I felt like the underdog, and I related to other kids that were like that. So I never wanted to make other people feel that way.
I was always an underdog guy too.
I didn't want to make someone go into this very closet right behind me and cry like I did when I was little, when people would make fun of me. So because of that, I've always been kind of accepting of everything.
Right.
Because I don't want anybody to feel that way. And I also realize, like, if I can be this weird or different, and so can someone else, then who am I to judge them or say anything other than what is normal? There is no normal. It's what people tell themselves they need to fall into, apparently.
Yeah.
And I've always kind of felt that way. And it's gotten stronger, more clear, more proficient, and more patient with age. There was no starting. It's just always kind of escalated to like, now I'm probably the most open and comfortable with that I've ever been. I'd say the last couple of years, but specifically probably the last 3 years I've been just like, it's an opinion, it's subjectivity. Who am I to ever say otherwise? The best I could do is try to listen and understand. And if I don't fully agree with you, take my time on trying to, like the Nazi guy you're talking about earlier.
Yeah.
In what world would me, going after him, would he be like, I'm not going to be a Nazi anymore? It's like I might have to take a long time to change his perspective on Jewish people or black people.
I mean, my whole thing was setting a precedent up that the way I viewed it was just like, I don't agree with anything you believe, and yet we still get along. So I'm just the guy that's some kind of not closed door for you socially to possibly enter somewhere else without getting yelled at and being altered. I was like, I just took the route of pacifism in terms of approaching anything. It was just like,
when did that happen for you, babe?
What?
You seem like you're also very open passive and like accepting and understanding of other people that you might not even agree with or care
100%.
for.
One,
when did that happen?
Because I had to, for work, being exposed to a lot of people that I did not agree with.
Like Nazis.
Like Nazis. Yeah.
Yeah, someone you don't agree with.
Yeah. It's like weird because like, and then like, you know, a lot of people say they have no tolerance for it. I'm just like, I mean, I get it. I totally get why you don't have tolerance for it. But at the same time, it's just like, it was just a job that I worked every day. And it was just another ignorant person, just a different style, just with a more recognized label. You know what I mean? You know how many ignorant people I've had to work with? You know what I mean? Like, in terms of like, any, like, where like people that don't understand that, like, I don't know, like, don't wear, if you're doing don't wear nice clothes to a construction job and then get mad at me when I ask you to take out dusty garbage.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I don't know, go home, bro.
Yeah.
Just go home or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you have to like handle everybody. It's like literally any kind of gang in Chicago. I've probably like, you know, 60% of members of some gang around here. You know what I mean? Are some of them nice? Yeah. Some of them are nice. Are some of them dicks about it? Yeah. Some of them are dicks about it. Or some of them you just don't talk to and ask if they want to go home and they go no. And you go, all right, well, if I got to let you go home because of protocol, if you do this again, you know, and be like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's like, oh, it's like if you approach them that way, it's like fine, you know, because I mean, like some of them, it's like, did they fall into ignorance and stuff like that because of just trying to survive? You know what I mean? Some people being a Nazi in prison is just surviving.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or being a Nazi in Germany was just surviving.
Right.
Because if you weren't, you would be killed.
I remember at one of my...
Not giving excuses, but like that, I guarantee you not 100% of the Nazis in Germany were all like gun-ho 100% Nazism like Hitler was.
Right.
It just statistically, it just doesn't work that way.
But there is people out there that are technically a white supremacist member or whatever that like I've run into. Like, he has a swastika tattoo on his kneecap in one of the psych wards. And the African-American member is just like, fuck you, you racist piece of shit. And he goes, this is not my beliefs. This is just survival. He goes, what do you mean? The guy was like a meth trader. Mm-hmm. And he's like, you see how weak I am? He's like, I'm sick and dying and terminal. How can I defend myself?
What do you mean sick? Like,
he was like terminally ill.
Oh, okay.
And going to prison. But his on his way there, his stop was a mental psych ward or something like that. He's like, I can't defend myself. What do you want from me, kid?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's like where it's like when you see it, like when you see the Nazi symbol on this very weak, frail man's kneecap, it's not a symbol of oppression anymore. It seems like a symbol of like desperateness. Man, like how many times have you heard about it like that?
Never, actually.
It's like it's. How do you get mad at them?
No, I mean it's the same thing. How do you get mad at people who are like lifelong, they're lifers, like in and out of jail and prison? When this first time you go because of just being born in the wrong time, wrong place, wrong era, the wrong education, the wrong role models, the wrong income, and you go to prison, now you're branded and you can't get out and go to college and get a good job. You can't meet the right woman because she doesn't want to date you because you're an ex-felon. Like all these things add up, and it's a problem that society does when like you screw up, they brand you. They can't do this, you can't do that. They think it's helping, but it's not. Yeah, it's not helping at all.
That guy literally had a Nazi tattoo because he's like, when I sit down in prison for lunch, I only have to give my fellow Nazis my Jell-O instead of my whole fucking lunch.
Yeah,
like because I'm so like I'm fucking dying.
Yeah.
You know?
It's weird. It becomes like the currency, too. When you're put into a cage, the only currency could be cigarettes, candy, your tattoos, what you can
Cigarettes
give.
are out now. I don't think they could do that.
Oh, you can't do cigarettes?
I don't think so
know.
anymore.
Seen too many old Clint Eastwood movies.
I know,
Right? I don't know.
Food is a currency, even in a psych ward, actually.
Yeah.
And you know what's, dude? I haven't told you about Jello lettuce.
That's a great band name, by the way.
It is pretty good, right? It sounds like something that like what they would open for Primus.
Yeah. Jello lettuce. Also, that's a good like art house film name.
That would be good.
Art Jello lettuce. I'm gonna make it. All right. Sorry. Tell me about
So,
Jello lettuce.
and John Madden, I figured out that every lunch, people got lettuce underneath their Jello. Nobody wanted the Jello lettuce, but it's edible. And I knew from staying there that they don't have enough. Like the food is not enough there,
Not enough
so we'd be
nutrition?
like starving at night. We like there's this guy like sometimes we would stay up at night and like beg the guard for sugar packets and milk because it's all they could.
You say milk,
Yeah,
not milk.
I don't know.
Whenever I second guess you, you just look at me and go, I don't know. You've done that so many times. You're so unsure of yourself. You're like,
100%.
I don't know.
Like you tell me what it is.
Milk. I don't think there's a
Milk?
wrong way. I think it might just be geographical dialect. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you begged the prison guard for sugar
It
and
was not
packets
prison.
of milk.
It was a psych ward.
Sorry, my bad.
Yeah.
Psych
Security.
ward. Wait, is it even psych ward? You called it something earlier.
Mental health hospital.
Mental health
It's
hospital.
a public one, yeah. But yeah, we were given like so in order to get anything, it was like milk, what's a little carton, and like just give me as many fucking sugar packets as you can so I can fall asleep. I'm so fucking hungry. You know what I mean? Just to just stop hurting, basically. But eventually, everybody in the unit started giving me their Jello lettuce because I would eat it, and nobody wanted it, and it was the only thing you didn't have to trade for. Wow! You had to trade for pepper, had to trade for salt, had to trade for sugar. Nobody wanted that fucking lettuce.
Why?
Because it's gross. It's fucking gross, dude.
Tell me why it's so. Is it slimy or?
Yeah, it's slimy, fucking. Dude, it is lettuce with Jello from a cafeteria that's government run.
By John Madden.
Yeah. It's named after John Madden. He doesn't even know it's fucking there.
He was probably sitting at some golf tournament in Jupiter, Florida one day, and they're like, "Hey, can you sign this?" Like his assistant, like, "Hey, it's something you'll get tax write-offs." Yeah, sure.
Yep,
sign it.
100%.
As long as it doesn't affect the video game, whatever. You know.
Yeah.
And John
It's
Madden.
in Illinois.
Where is it?
Like LaGrange. It's somewhere
Really?
near LaGrange, and it is dog shit.
I honestly, I've never been in a mental health hospital, but I've never heard anything good about them from anybody that's been there, worked at them, anything.
A private facility is much better.
I'm sure a private one that's like $100,000 a year is probably great.
Harvey, Illinois' mental health wing is better than John Madden, which doesn't have that much funding. Palos Heights Hospital.
I believe a friend of mine worked at that one.
Yeah, that was one I went to as well, which was pretty rough as well, because a lot of people are in there for they separate it. Dude, these motherfuckers, because I was a little aggressive when I got committed that time, so they put me in with the aggressive people who are all there because like the jails are like, we think they might be crazy because they're feisty.
That's scary.
Yeah,
That's
dude,
terrifying.
I do a bit about it.
Can you do the bit?
Yeah, I'll just tell you what fucking happened. I'll just fucking tell you in full detail. I get taken to my room for the first time, and I enter. They're like, "This is your roommate." Blah blah blah. I forget his name, and I walk in there, and it's just a man wrapped in a blanket, about my age, sobbing, and he turns around, looks at me, bawling his eyes out, and goes, "I swear I'm not a serial killer," and rolls back. That's a true story. That happened like that.
I'm laughing.
No, I do it on stage.
That's the way you're presenting this.
But it fucking happened that way. I'm just sitting there
crazy.
with my clothes like, holy shit. Like, I'm like, that's the first, not, hey, how
Oh
you
my
doing?
God,
Not my
it's
name. I'm not a
crazy.
serial killer. Please believe me. Like, not even, please believe it. Just fucking rolled back. And then that was my
Oh my God.
roommate. It was my roommate.
Brennan, that's sad. I mean, that's crazy. I'm only laughing because your presentation is insane, but that's sad. That's real.
And then he got shipped out. I don't know what happened to him. And then I got the next guy was a fucking 60-year-old man that didn't want to get up and pee. So he would smuggle milk cartons into the room, drink the milk, save it for later, pee in it, and leave it on the windowsill. So my room just smelled like fucking piss. And I was just, I would like go up to the nurses thing every day. I'm just like, I don't know if you've noticed, but I haven't eaten a fucking crayon or fucking talked to anything that's not existing. I haven't fucking put piss anywhere it doesn't belong. I don't know if you've noticed that. I don't know if you could put that in my file. It's knows where to put piss.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. And then that Monday they're like, we've decided that you're going to a different section.
We've decided that you're not doing all those things that you just said.
Instead of with like the criminally insane and the violently insane, I got put with like the people. They're like, we're putting you with all the suicidals.
Oh my God. Oh.
Do you know what group therapy is like with a bunch of suicidal people? Like, how are we doing? Anybody want to answer? I'm doing good. I just got here. Hi, Brennan Weaver.
Oh my God. Oh, I'm crying. Wow.
Yep.
Life is crazy.
Yeah, it really is.
I can't believe you have that experience. I can't believe that you went through that, and I can't believe people go through that.
Yeah.
And it's like real.
Some people say
it's funny the way you're delivering it, but like imagine flip that over on that guy's side. The guy's laying there peeing in milk cartons put on the window. Like,
yeah,
that is,
it's
sad. Or the guy before that, his introductory. I'm not a serial killer. Like,
I think he fucking was, dude.
I
started talking to him a little bit to weed it out, and I'm like, you're talking about stuff in a very weird way that does not like. It's like I don't know why you're talking about this fucking cornfield and like people missing and how you don't fucking. It's like I don't know, they're just gone, and you're just like it's like everybody was just like you were in the cornfield too long, Kevin, and people are missing. Is it your fault? And I'm like, no. It's like it sounds like it is your fault.
So wait. What, man, I don't even know where to go right now. I'm just like, I've never heard this type of story in my life, so I've heard a lot of stories. And all right, there's a first for everything. So, how do they? So, if they're there for criminal insanity, then they did do the things that they're there for, or allegedly they haven't been charged yet.
So some people are just so crazy that they don't even know. There's the other guy. There's people in there like that.
The people that can get actually charges dropped because of being insanity.
Right. They really don't know why they're there. Like it seems like I don't know what they did, but there's ladies. There's a lady in there. She was always talking to herself. She thought she was dating Elvis. Doesn't know what to do, and like she's in like the rowdy, crazy people where they're like they might need to be restrained, they might need to be sedated, they might get violent.
Yeah, it's so sad because literally some humans are just born like that.
Right.
Like it's nature. It's like it's part of their epigenesis. Like it's part of what is part of their genotype. It's in them.
Yeah,
it's innate to them. They're at 3 or 4 years old. That stuff's already starting coming out, and you couple that with just a couple bad incidents from your parents.
Yeah.
And that's what you get. And it's like, what do you do with someone like that?
But the guy that I told you about, the Nazi with the tattoo on his kneecap, he was in the section when I got transported out of it. He was in like the good section. Because he's just like, listen, just leave me alone.
I can't do this. You're making me laugh at stuff that's like...
I didn't...
It's not funny.
I didn't know. Like, it's weird is that until like recently, I didn't realize I was just like, man, that's a lot of run-ins. a lot of violence.
Yeah. Holy crap, man! I mean, that's that. But like what you're saying, you use some of it as bits for comedy because like what comedy is, to me at least, is it's real, everyday, actual things that an artist that we give them a name, a comedian or a comic,
Yeah.
they find a way to find humor in like what is real, what is happening. You know, like what you're talking about is the worst stuff. It's so sad. It's real. It's devastating. But the way you're saying it, you're smiling. You're making me laugh, and I'm like, I normally don't laugh at this type of stuff, but it's the. I mean, you can't. You went through it. Like it is your life, your experience. You can do whatever you need with it.
Because like it feels like a lot of my adult life, like the major memories, is like me, like like my room smells like piss, and I'm just leaning on the doorway, going like, man, this is how the fuck, like where's like, how did I get here? Like where's like how? I'm like none of my friends have these experiences, like
No.
and it's just like then you kind of just start thinking it's a little funny.
Do you find that it has built a certain type of character? Do you like it's given you a whole new perspective on life?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
It has to. I mean,
It for many years people coming up to me and being like, Brennan, your perception of reality is not what everybody else is saying. You go, well, do I have an identity? Do I have then I should believe you should give me a name then. If I tell you my name is Brennan and you go, my perception of reality is wrong, what else am I wrong about?
yeah.
The whole thing, and they're like, take this, take that, blah, 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 be a zombie or whatever, function in society, and be like, I don't even know what society is at this point, So it's just like, I've embraced that. That's why I like nihilism as a baseline. It's like,
My baseline is nothing matters. All right. Great place to start.
Well, it is, because, like, have you ever seen The Big Lebowski?
Of course.
Of
course.
We believe in nothing.
Yeah.
It's just
Don't
like,
worry, Don, it's just nihilist.
Yeah. It's like, it makes me laugh to be, like,
How was it infiltrated or affected your art as far as painting?
100%. A lot of it was, like, trying to communicate what I was, like, seeing, feeling, and stuff like that, the painting and stuff like that. I think that's probably why I hated fucking selling it, because it was such a personal message to myself.
Yeah.
And actually, I started using them to be a memory thing. So a lot of the paintings I have, they're actually, it's like if I had a day and like so foggy, I'm just like, the car ride that sucked, this song was playing, and this weird surreal, like this one is just practice, but like all my other paintings, there's a specific memory or like time and place or feeling, and a lot of it is like the relationship to when I sat down at the end of the day on my fucking office chair and started painting the day or the week or the time lapse. And it's like it's about taking a sample of time or like a timeline, like Monday starting at 7 o'clock to Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. Smush that into a concept and summarize the whole thing. That time branch now is one moment. And how do you image that for your day? Does it make sense or no?
I mean, yeah, it does. I don't have an answer how to image that for your day.
Right. But then you just let your subconscious take over.
Yeah. No, that's probably the best way to explain creativity.
Yeah.
It's so hard. Like I answer these questions knowing that you can't really get to an answer because I don't know what it's like to have your mind.
I don't know what it's like to have your mind.
Exactly.
But you're fascinating as well. Probably everybody you've had on here so far is fascinating. I've only watched 2 episodes, so I can't say everybody. I don't know.
I could assure you that the 4 people that I've had on have been fascinating. Okay. I'll assure you.
From what I've seen, pretty fascinating people.
That's who I've been wanting to get on here. People who, again, like we mentioned, or however many hours ago, just the people you meet doing this type of stuff I've been doing for so long. You meet a lot of people, and everyone is interesting in their own way.
100%.
It's just been the people
100%.
that like pop. Like, I got to talk to this person more, or they've done extraordinary things, or important things, or things that they mean a lot to me personally.
That's how I kind of feel about you. Like, I want people to like my friends that don't know you I'm just like, you fucking got it, man. It's cool. It's fucking cool. You gotta meet bad. You should like nobody does. Like just hear, like, you know what I mean? Like, right,
Hear about.
I'd be like, you would like his mind. I'm telling you.
Thank you. That's a nice compliment. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. And it's, I mean, like I said, when I was first coming up with this, I made a list. There's already 150 people on this. It's gonna take years.
That's nice.
And you're one of the first people I thought of. You know.
God. You're so nice. Thank you.
And God.
I don't even know what to do with that. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. It's just your artwork, your
Thank you.
comedy, your personality, talking to you, how nice you've been, how open you've been. You made that backdrop for DZ Fest. You made the backdrop for the behind the drum kit for DZ Records because you wanted to.
All right.
You know, I built a little canvas holder for you and gave you the paint.
Yeah.
And the
8x8.
The 8x8.
I was working on 8x8 at a time.
yeah.
Was it
And
8
you
by
went it.
24 feet?
It was 24 feet by 8 feet. Yeah.
And I worked on that painting 8 by 8 feet at a time. That was, I remember one time I tried painting it with it outside on a windy day. You know, and I was like, it was like, this is not working.
Not a good idea.
Yeah, it was a fascinating learning experience painting that large.
Really?
Yeah, that's why I want to do it.
That's a lot of square feet.
I know, but I feel like I could do it better now that I know what happens, like with wind and like, you know,
Well, when we do it again, we could do it in my garage. You don't
Yeah.
really want wind.
and the fumes and they got.
Well, we could leave like the doors open, then like we can close one of the doors and leave the side ones that don't get enough wind, you know?
Yeah.
But you still have fresh air.
Okay.
Yeah.
But not enough. I want to get a little inspired, you know.
You want to. Since you're sober, you need something going on.
Does huff and spray paint count?
Man, people who huff stuff,
I know, it's crazy.
that's like a whole, like, what happened? Why are you huffing paints and flipping the air cleaner? And, oh, man.
Oh, whippets.
Whippets. I've never done a whippet. I mean,
I did one whippet out of a condom once.
all right. I've already decided what's going to be. If it's okay with you, I've just. Okay. And scene. I've decided what my promotional Instagram clip's going to be. It's going to be that.
Yeah. Totally go with it. I did a whippet out of a condom once.
And it was great.
No, I decided that I hated it.
How does one do a whip it out of a condom? First
You're
of
just friends with the wrong people. That's how you do it.
all, it wasn't used, right?
You know, it was no, it wasn't. It better not have.
I thought you were going to say something else.
No.
Oh, Jesus.
I was hanging out with some people, not even Nazis, normal people.
Wait. No one who's normal is getting you to do whip it out of a condom. I hate to break it to you.
I know. What was weird was when they're like, "Do you want to try?" I'm like, "I've never really did it. I never really did a whip it." And they're like, "Here, try it." And then like, I got handed a condom, and they're like, "You just," and I'm just like, "Out of a condom," and they're like, "I mean, it's all we got, man." And I'm like, "This this drug sucks. This drug is stupid.
What was in it?
Fucking whip it, whatever."
Nitrous oxide, right?
Yeah, sure. That thing.
What happened?
That thing.
It just got slow.
Your voice freezes up, so you.
Oh, that's just helium.
What the? No, the helium's the up. Helium's like this, man.
You're right.
It's helium. I never did helium out of a fucking condom. What kind of story starts like that? Have you ever done?
Well, I could see it being at like a what's it called? A bachelorette party. They take
Oh, yeah.
helium and instead of having balloons, they fill up I could see that happening.
I can see that now.
Right?
Now,
That could totally.
Now
I
you,
bet you
now
it's
you
happened.
market it. It had to have.
It's happened.
But I'm not the only guy in America that's huffed out of a condom.
No, you're not.
For sure.
How old were you when you did this?
I don't know. Out of college.
I got my degree, and then I did a whip it out.
I was a working adult.
Who says the education system's failed anybody? Oh my goodness! Wow, people do crazy stuff.
Right.
What What led you to be doing that? That's a pretty risky thing to be doing.
I didn't know it was. I just wanted to.
You didn't know.
I just wanted to cross off whippets off the fucking drug checklist at the time.
Have you crossed off a lot of drugs on the drug list?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably like
I
a
haven't.
few.
Not
yeah.
at all, really. I only done a handful.
That's good.
Probably
You know.
good. I think.
Yeah.
I like psychedelics and
Yeah.
and marijuana, and that's pretty much it.
It's really all you need.
I think so.
If I ever have kids and they like come to me when they're like 35, they're like, "Dad, I have to admit something to you." I'll be like, "What?" They're like, "I've done weed and shrooms and acid. I'm so sorry." I'd be like, "It's cool."
That's all I've done.
I'd be like, "Then I did something right."
I hope I made my parents proud.
It's literally all you need.
It's all you need, and all you need at an older
You technically
age.
don't even need it, but you know what I'm
you
saying.
need you need it at an older age.
If you want to get it, you need it. But if you don't, if you're fine just being a fucking...
you're right. You don't actually need it. I'm being a little facetious. You don't need any drugs.
I know. We know. But, you know.
But if you were to do them...
It's kind of dorky if you don't. Nope.
I didn't do drugs for a long... Way older in life. Way older in life. Yeah. I was as straight as an arrow for a long time.
Yeah.
Which I'm okay with because I got to experience that for a long time. And I got to experience it arguably during the best time to not put anything into your brain.
Correct.
When it's developing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is what it is. I didn't know that at the time, but in hindsight, I'm like, oh, that's good, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you know, because a lot of people try to do escaping with it or whatever. Yeah. That's why I feel weird about microdosing, self-microdosing. Somebody that chooses self-microdose with it, like shrooms or something, I'm just like, no, you don't have any medical instruction. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It seems a little... But maybe you know what you're doing. I don't give it. At the end of the day...
Depends on the person.
Right.
It depends on your... why you're doing it and your motive.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it's like, I don't really care. Just don't lie to yourself. Only you're going to know if you're lying to yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, you're right.
It's like, I'm totally with you. Don't lie to yourself. Look in the mirror and feel the same as you did. You know what I mean?
You have to be honest with yourself if you're going to take any drugs.
Yeah.
You have to. I mean, like this month, I'm not doing anything. I'm just taking the month off, drinking, smoking any of it. Smoking weed, drinking alcohol because I just want to. I just want clarity. I just want to have a month where I'm just like, during the Christmas season.
Cleanse.
Cleanse. During the Christmas season, like the last 2 weeks, I was off work. No one's coming to record. Everyone's around. There's nothing to do. So like I drank more.
Yeah.
But not like excessively, but I just drank more than I normally do. And I was like, I need a break. That's it.
Honestly, I think I'm pretty lucky with this, decided sobriety. Mm-hmm. Because of the pandemic. I mean, like, where it's like, oh, you hear statistics of people falling. If they were on the edge, it's like they went down.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot of people. And I'm just like, I would have been that. I would have totally been that.
If you were doing drugs or drinking.
Yeah, if I never took a break or anything like that and stuff like that, I think I would have fallen back into like an addictive cycle for sure. But now it was like, now I feel like I have a toolbox, like, you know what I mean? Or it's just like I realized how much I was like drinking to escape stuff.
Yeah.
You know, in reality, and for so long, I didn't even realize how long I was doing it.
How long do you think you were doing it for?
Probably longer than I think. So probably about a decade.
Okay.
You know,
like excessive.
Very. Yeah.
Oh, really?
And at the end, near the end of it, it would I would get home from school or not school. Jesus Christ, work. And I would be like, I'd be like sitting at home like this, just like, and I'm like, I really don't want to be here right now. And I would slam it until I passed out, and then would wake up and go to work. It was like, I literally was just like, don't want to be conscious. That was my.
When did that start?
Probably 3 years ago, something like that.
Oh, drinking like that.
Drinking like that. It was like it was like.
So it wasn't a decade you did that.
It was not a decade I did that.
Right. That's how it was worded. Okay. Just making sure.
Yeah, no, it was a decade of self-medicating.
Yeah.
Irresponsibly,
right.
Probably, but still socially acceptable at this time. And
it usually is in your 20s.
Right.
That's the problem with,
right.
with it, yeah.
Well, I don't know. I never had any influences on it because I would drink and study for school. And
really?
Yeah, I would. See, I've always been. Nobody knew for a long time, even me. I don't know how much I drank in college. I was literally sleeping 3 nights a week because I was drinking and doing Adderall and studying pretty much the whole night, and like fucking got almost straight A's.
Wow.
Yeah,
Was it the Adderall? Was it your mind? What got you the straight A's?
the Adderall.
The Adderall. I never.
And then the drinking while studying was enjoy studying. It was just enjoy studying. So I was literally enjoying studying alone, and that was my 4.5. That was 4.5 years. And you know what was weird? I always tried to start the semester without doing it, but I would fail every single first test. And then they go, you get 1 drop test, and then it became like, well, I'm fucked now because I just failed every single first test I took in college.
Yeah.
And it was every year, every semester. It was just the first test, F. And then after that, I was like, I literally can't even risk not taking Adderall.
Was it because you
It
got
felt like-
used to the Adderall and the alcohol combo? Is that what? So you kind of set you up for disaster? Like you weren't able to now do it without it? Is that why you think?
I think it was an issue of maximizing, having some fun. Because I was always, like, even with baseball, I was always like an opportunistic fun seeker. Because it was so rare. And with studying and drinking in college, kind of led to a pattern of, like, you know, I never went to a college party. Never did that.
Yeah.
Never did any of that.
You just did it alone.
Did it all alone.
Huh.
No one monitoring. You know what I mean?
It's almost worse, huh?
No one monitoring, no one expressing an opinion, me not even not even thinking.
Your parents didn't notice?
No,
Really?
they're asleep.
Oh.
I'm
Girlfriend didn't notice?
Live downtown.
Oh.
live.
Friends didn't notice.
Didn't hang out with them.
Oh, secret.
Not even intentionally. You know how they say alcoholics hide it?
Yeah.
It was just like
By design, but you're alone.
I had no idea.
Interesting.
And then when I did go out with people and drink, I drank a lot, and it was noticed. And then people like slowly in my life started commenting. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it was like, I don't know. Now I drink near beers,
What's a near beer?
non-alcoholic craft beer. They're fucking delicious.
Oh, it's near being a beer.
It's no alcohol.
No, I would try
yeah,
those.
but I'm not even dude. They taste really good.
I'd try one.
Yeah, they taste like how I think that beer tastes like now.
I like beer. I don't drink it much, but I mean, I like it when I drink it.
I like when I can drink again. I'm literally gonna probably stick to the near beers.
That's probably best.
That's what I like.
Yeah.
I like. I just like the taste of it. I love kombucha. And it's
Kombucha's
like,
great.
Like there's every once in a while where I'm just like, I wish I could have like a fucking michelada with a taco.
Yeah.
But that's about it. It's like I don't need it.
No, I mean, no one needs alcohol.
Right? No.
Like we were saying a couple minutes ago, if there were to be a substance to choose, I would choose marijuana over alcohol any day of the week.
Oh, okay.
Personally,
I can't. I never liked weed because it made me like itchy.
it's probably not good for someone that has the bipolar. It's probably not a good thing.
I have no idea.
I've heard only anecdotally like you shouldn't, and I've heard scientists and doctors talk about like you probably should not do any hallucinogens or psychoactive drugs if you have any form of a mental illness that's even remotely like dangerous or severe,
Yeah.
because it could do some wacky stuff to that chemistry or it could make it worse. Because like again, weed, if you don't smoke a lot and you like take an edible or rip a couple hits from a bong, you literally can get tinges of like hallucinations in some way, shape, or form. Like things get weird.
THC is a hallucinogen.
It is, but like you do it enough, that
Technically.
starts to go away, and now you're just kind
Yeah.
of chilling.
Yeah,
but like
yeah.
the first couple times, if you like go hard on it, and they could really get you. I've seen a couple people wig out like hardcore, only once or twice. It's rare, super rare, but it can happen.
Yeah.
Definitely can.
I was like, you know what I hate most about weed is like to be feeling confident about what I'm doing with my hands.
What do you mean?
Like I'll be like, just sit like a normal person. I'm like, what is like? I'll be trying to avoid it. I'll be like, no, they would have it flat like this. Like, no, they wouldn't. You're more comfortable like that. Like, actually, no,
Really?
they would do that. Like, I'm like always like trying to try and not be seen. Like we're like all you'll be talking. I'll be like, is this normal with my hands? does it look like it's normal? And like be like, I'm not, like that's
Really?
I'm like freaking out about the hand placement.
I
And I'm like, I'm itchy. Don't itch. Don't think.
like physically itchy.
I get like itchy.
Huh.
Or I used to. I don't know.
Sounds like you probably shouldn't smoke.
I don't like it.
Apparently not. You don't even know how to put your hands.
I'm just gonna
somewhere.
stick to fucking condom whippets. Stick to what I know I like.
Listen, Ma, I'm gonna stick to what works for me. Okay, tomato, each their own. Okay. Man, life's crazy.
Yeah, I love it.
So, what have you been doing during the last 9 months to keep your
I
grounding?
focused on my career, and I found working at home, not physically dealing with like, kind of realizing how difficult the job I had was, and why like I would go. It was like 3 months at a time in that working field. It would be like slip back in, slip back in, slip back in, and now I'm like out of this super toxic way of living. Like it was like
Yeah, it sounds toxic.
like people like feel weird like I feel like when I hear someone go, I worked 130 hours in 2 weeks. I go, so like that's in my mind because I'm friends with people and like I'm like the low end. In 1 work week, I've worked 116 and a half hours clocked. And I'm a fucking baby compared to these guys. You know what I mean?
Say that again.
I've worked 116 and a half hours in 1 work week.
So that was 168 hours in a week, right?
16.
No, I'm saying there's 168 in a week.
I don't know.
I think that's right.
Okay.
I think. Yeah, it is.
Right.
You're like, yeah, right.
Yeah, what you said.
So you minus that. So there's really only, what is that, 52 hours left, give or take?
Right.
About 52 hours for your existence. And if you're 7 days, that means you're sleeping hopefully 7 hours a night. That's at 49. So there's 3 hours of you to exist, to do anything else besides sleep or work.
Yeah.
That's not good.
I know. It was crazy. And it was like today, I'm glad it happened. You know what I mean? This is like know what it feels like to work over 100 hours in 1 week. But I wouldn't ask anybody or like, it's kind of hard to like gauge what a good work ethic is after that point. Because you're like, well, I was deceived into thinking that was worth it. I've gotten in a car crash because of working too much and falling asleep at the wheel. I don't know how many people did. I've seen 7 mental breakdowns at that place that I worked at that did that to us.
Who was deciding, like, who's in charge of making you do
You're
that?
technically volunteering. But the way it, people, if like somebody strong arms you into it and dangles the carrot in the right light, then you'll do it.
Dollar sign in the right light.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was like doing that, cleaning up after dead people. It's like processing a lot of stuff.
How do you don't do that still, right?
No.
No, you just did it. That's what
I did it for about 6 or 8 years.
you cleaned up dead people for 6 to 8 years.
It was in the job description.
It
wasn't
literally
the
says
main-
that.
No, I
Clean
mean
up dead people.
no.
Oh,
But it was like part of the industry, and yeah.
that's so. And does that PTSD still affect you like now?
I don't think so. I don't even know if I have it anymore, to be honest. But sometimes it like no, I don't know. It was like a great effect. It had a great impact on my life, and it was that PTSD response was like the wake up call to be like, you need mental health for real. Like it's like your life almost went like completely like you like gone, everything, losing everything, losing just being on the street. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I still work really hard. I still don't feel comfortable working 40 hours. Like a healthy balance for me is probably 60, 65. And then it's like I need somebody to like if I try and do more and then be like, no, thank you, like no, Brennan. You know what I mean? I still need somebody to kind of be like, it's like you realize it's 60 hours, right? And I'm like, yeah, I know, but I could do it. And they're like, no, step away.
What about painting?
I'm working on getting back into it. Right now, I'm just trying to do the podcast.
What about? So when you were doing comedy, how were you fitting comedy and painting in when you were?
Painting was out, but comedy was still in. Working 60 to 70. It's feasible. It felt feasible. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know.
Have you tried to? This is what I do to, like, try to juggle a bunch of different things. Is get in your head that even if it feels like a hobby or a passion, it still is work, and that way you can the work that is work, you can have less of that.
Right.
So like the podcast, comedy, painting. Do you do any other type of physical artwork, drawing or sketching or chalk or mixed media, anything like that, or just like painting?
Probably just painting.
So painting, comedy, podcast.
Comedy podcast is like, right now.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I'm speaking
Okay.
hypothetically.
Then that's it.
If you do those 4 things, then instead of working 70 or 80 hours a week, you do 50 hours a week.
Yeah.
And those other things are now like work.
Yeah.
And they could take that void of the other 50 hours you normally would have been doing when you did your 100, 115 hours.
Yeah.
Like,
not worth it work.
Right. You might not get paid, but
Right.
there's still progress, productivity, creativity, and forward movement, forward momentum in your existence. That's the way I balance everything.
Right.
When someone's like, well, you do all these things, it's like, well, first, I don't get paid for a lot of it, but
Right.
that's why I can do it, because there's no money and time attached to it. I want to do this podcast because I want to do it, and it could take up 5 hours of my day every week, and that's one thing. And I always just think, like, how many fun, creative, forward-moving, progressive things can I do from when I wake up at 7 a.m. to when I go to bed at around 11:30 midnight? Like, what can I do in that window? From band practice with 3 different bands to the podcast to another podcast that I do. It's currently just been kind of on hold, but there's a couple other ones. To teaching.
Well, people think that you're nuts by how much you do stuff, right?
But I'm explaining how to like balance it. Yeah, no, I mean
They don't get it almost.
no.
But it's like,
But I'm like this is how or planning out like DZ
Yeah.
Fest. Normally I would start planning out now. It takes me 6 months to do it.
right.
So I would do it from January until it's finished in July, but it's not done there. I have to take everything down, then edit the 40 videos. It's really my off season from DZ Fest is September, mid-September to Christmas. So that's when like I'm not doing DZ Fest stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. But when I'm doing that, that's when school starts and I'm doing that. But then there's the shows, like doing the shows and the sessions. But I find time, and you have to be disciplined and like pick times to do. You like wake up early, paint for an hour. Just paint for an hour every day or 30 minutes. Just like before you know it, you just did 5 hours that week of painting.
Yeah.
So you just like do it in small increments, and stuff like that. Like with working out, I don't go to the gym for 2 hours. I just have some dumbbells and one of those bars that go in the doorway. And whenever I get bored, I just like walk through and just do 10 real quick. But I do it the whole day. Before I knew, I did 100.
Yeah.
And it's just little things. But I'm lucky enough to work from home to do that. And I mean, that's the only way I can find a way to do a bunch of stuff. But I don't really have leisure time. If I'm having leisure time, I'm like planning out stuff on my phone. I'm like planning out events and putting stuff into calendars and opening up another Google Docs to put more information in there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think someone can truly multitask, but I try as much as I can to multitask 5, 6 things at once. Like just like a podcast, cooking, planning, laundry, working out in between them by grabbing the bar and going up and down, washing my face.
You're maximizing your time efficiency.
Yes.
And that's a huge part of it.
As much as possible. And I know everyone's different with that, but you can start somewhere. And I think to continue your artwork, your comedy, but you still have that work ethic, take that work ethic drive you have, which you clearly have a strong one, and find avenues to put it in places. And there might not be money, but what takes that, what is better than money is sanity, peace of mind, peace of your heart, camaraderie, friends. So that stuff is way more valuable than money is. Money's not even valuable. It's just clearly it's not valuable because they just print it and give us $600 once in a while. It's not that valuable.
Kind of a newer thing.
Yeah.
For people that don't register for it. I don't know. Still haven't gotten mine.
Really?
Yeah.
Why not?
I don't know. I keep searching, and they're like, we sent it out on the 6th. And I'm just like,
Is it coming in through direct deposit or through
No.
check?
it's going to be a check or a card.
Interesting.
It's for, due to the timing with, I don't know what it was. That's why I read. They're like, some people are getting a debit card because of they didn't want to wait for printing more checks or something, and it was faster.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I don't know. But at the end of the time, I don't need it right away. I'm fine. I'm lucky. I'm lucky that I don't need it.
You have a job that Yeah.
Yeah. So it's I don't know. Great year though. I guess. I mean, I
thus
don't know.
far
For me personally, it's been a great year.
since like
I've enjoyed
everything
it.
went down last week.
I've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely it's had massive up and downs. Yeah.
I think I've dealt with it after the fucking crazy last 5 years. I'm just like pandemic, and I'm like, sure, whatever.
Walk in the park for you.
Yeah, it feels like it.
That makes
It
sense
really
based on
fucking does.
what you've talked about for the last 3.5 hours. Like, yeah, 3.5 hours.
Oh shit.
What time do you wake up?
6:45.
Okay, so we'll end soon because you need to get home. Where do you don't have to say where you live, but is it far from here?
35 minutes probably.
We
now.
should end soon.
Yeah,
We'll
we
end
should.
very shortly. My only advice to you would be try to do that, and
Yeah,
Don't-
That's great advice.
thank you. I mean, don't rush it. Take your time with it. I've just been doing this my whole life,
Yeah,
but like, if it's not something you've been doing your whole life, you clearly have the gene, the work ethic, 116 and a half hours in a week. So
Stupid,
find
though.
it. I mean, that's crazy, but find ways to still stay busy and keep that part of your mind going so you don't feel bad. I'm assuming when you don't do that, you feel bad.
do what?
When you don't work a lot, you feel bad.
I feel horrible.
Me too.
I
So
get panic attacks.
right, I feel the only time. So what I do also. Do you go on vacation ever?
No,
Okay, do that.
I hate it. It's
No,
so
no,
hard.
No, do it. Work hard. Have that crazy life where you're painting every morning. You're reading. You're doing that. You're listening to a podcast. You're going to work. You're working all these hours, doing everything. So much, and then I'll deliberately allow yourself. Just try it small. Just a weekend. Just a Friday night to a Sunday. Go somewhere. Go stay at the Fitzster Hotel in Milwaukee.
An Airbnb.
No. Live it up. Get a
Airbnb is
$200 a
living it
night
up.
hotel.
Airbnb is living it up. You
Go,
want to
go somewhere fun where you can go
Okay.
swimming in a pool and just where you don't have to do anything. Just be. Just exist and let it all just go and just do whatever you want. Go get fun food. Just sleep in.
that.
Just only a couple times a year. I just let it all go. I just disappear. I don't even tell people. I'm gonna go. Driving to go visit a friend somewhere in the country. I don't post it online. I don't tell anybody. I just do it and I just let it all go and then come right back into it and go crazy for 3-4 months straight.
Yeah,
I don't know. It gives you something to look forward to.
I could see that. The wanderlust itch or the break from
And then when you get back, you're like, cool, that was nice. But then you miss the work. So now when you come back, you just go crazy again. You go right into it.
Yeah.
And then you're like, man, I can't wait to go to Los Angeles. Los Angeles is kind of a bad spot right now, but I can't wait to go to Sedona, Arizona, and
Yeah.
and have some warmth in January. And then you go there for a couple days, and you come back, and it's like you have to do something like that. You got to have those breaks.
Yeah.
You need them. The brain needs them.
You mentioned the end, and now my brain went cigarette.
You want to?
You want to cut it
That was
there?
very robotic. My brain wants cigarette.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and thank you for coming.
I like how that is like, hey Ben, I'm addicted to smoking. This has been Bending Brains.
I hope your brain has been bent.
It has been awesome to be here.
Thank you.
It's been awesome.
It's been a treat and a privilege to have you here. You're a phenomenal artist. One of the best I've seen.
Right back at you.
You're a great comedian.
Thank you.
You made me laugh this whole time.
It was fun.
Your stories are profound and insightful. I hope people who listen to this can get a better idea of what it's like to be someone who thinks differently, who's not neurotypical because of the genetics and life experience. Drug addiction, alcohol addiction, whippets out of condoms.
Yeah.
So I hope people who listen can get something. I know they will, because it's a very genuine, honest, and real story. Like, this is reality. This happens. People that go through it. I'm proud of you. You came out on the other side.
Thank you.
Like,
Thank you. I'm proud of me.
you're great. You should be proud of yourself. That's not an easy thing to go through, and you're here.
Thanks.
We're talking. You're alive, you know?
Can I plug my podcast?
Yeah, plug whatever you want. Anything you want.
Check me out. I'm Broken Laptop Guy on Instagram, and my podcast is Bewee's Better Podcast, produced by Chris Bonget, Bewee, Better Podcast on Spotify. Thanks a lot, man.
Wonderful. Thank you for being here, and I can't wait to have you back.
Thank you.
Bye.